Salutations and welcome to the Mana Bar Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Rose, and I'm joined here with Matt Samarco.
Hi, Andy.
And Dan Party's back.
Hi, Matt.
Sweet. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Matt. Hi, Andy.
It's episode 35,
December 18th.
December 18th, 2019.
Hi, both.
I'm not saying anything
Okay.
for the rest of the podcast.
Okay.
Nice. Dan and Matt.
Matt,
cast.
how are you?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
How's Death Stranding?
I finished it.
Oh, yeah?
I finished it.
What did you think? Did you keep doing 5 stars for every goddamn post that you see?
I would have if the last area
Like a
wasn't
psycho?
an asshole mountain where all your packages
They keep
die
being more
within
specific.
5 seconds. That's just this cold mountain area. So on top of that, your packages rot at an accelerated rate now. Timefall thingy. Yeah. And anyway, you move slower. Does more damage to your package stuff, your cargo. There's hills. It's just the very.
Hills, ugh.
It's a pain in the ass. So yeah. So at that part, I was like, all right, I don't think I'm getting enough great items from these people. So I'm gonna give up the 5 stars for this, and maybe I'll go back to it and.
How many
do
hours
some
did you
stuff.
clock in at this thing? Because I put a lot of hours into it, and I was just kind of mainlining it.
I
Must have been
don't even know.
50 hours in or something.
It's got to be more than that.
I mean, yeah.
It's got to be somewhere around like 80 or 90.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I spent like 50 in the first 2 chapters, like, or 4 chapters, I should say. But no, I really, really enjoyed this story.
Really?
Yes, I really did.
Matt sounds so surprised.
I didn't think it was very good, especially like given his pedigree. Like I wouldn't compare it favorably to almost any of the mainline Metal Gear games, except maybe 5, which is a
I thought it was
story.
better than 5. Yeah, I mean, obviously the big ones 1, 2, 3, even 4. But that's again. But that's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No.
Peace Walker.
5 was terrible. No, I think it was
Game
better
Mobile.
than Peace Walker. I think it was better than Portable Ops.
Metal Gear for the NES.
But no. But it was just, I thought it was really good, and I think it's something that he could potentially keep going with.
He better not.
If I hope he does.
Well, didn't he say something like he wanted to start kind of a new genre of game?
Well,
That's what this is supposed to be, and
Well, he's been saying he wants to direct movies, and he's also been saying he recently hinted at a
horror
tweet,
game, yeah,
like for a new horror game. So like maybe he wants to get back into, he was starting to do Silent Hills before he got booted from Konami. So maybe he wants to kind of finish what was in his mind for that thing. So I guess we'll have to wait and find out when he ends up doing next.
And apparently, I don't know if you saw a few weeks ago, there was something about Konami was selling the rights to the Silent Hill main page. So people were joking around like, "Hey, Kojima, look at this! Just the website SilentHill.com or something."
Oh, they were just selling the URL.
Yeah.
Why would they?
I don't know.
Like
that's weird.
that just leaves it open for someone to take that URL that for an IP that they own and do whatever they want with it.
Yeah, because then if they ever made a game from the Silent Hill, they'd like have this weird web page that they didn't own.
That
seems
happened
kinda weird.
back in the 90s when the internet was blowing up. There were people buying like URLs left and right that they knew would be popular, like Coke.com and stuff like that. And then they would like attempt to sell it back to the companies for like a massive amount of money. I think they all got thrown out in like a lawsuit though. Like they're like, no, you can't do that, even though they totally could. I don't see why they couldn't.
Yeah, I guess even like the Spawnwave YouTuber that you like was talking about, Silent Hill domain goes up for sale. So
That's just weird though. That's just more evidence that Konami's just done making games.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I thought they started to make games again,
yeah, pachinko machine games.
but I guess we'll have to.
Yeah, didn't we talk about something that they were making recently
Yeah, I
or
feel like
bringing
they
back?
were starting to do games
Doing
again.
something with the Metal Gear franchise. Or
I think
something.
there's talks that they're making Metal Gear Solid 6 without Kojima, but I think it could work only because I think they're literally trying to now fill the space that they didn't finish with Metal Gear Solid 5. So
I feel like Konami just cares about making money. I don't think they really care about the story not being filled in properly.
No. I think that's what this game is supposed to be, and because they it's already set. It's not like something they have to come up with on their own. Because obviously you saw how that friggin' worked with Metal Gear Solid Survive. So at this point, it'd be hard to screw it up considering they have a formula like in a story, everything
did.
written. So,
They screwed up with Survive.
well, that wasn't like pre-written.
Mainline.
That was like a side sub game thingy.
So, 2 weeks ago, I complained about the Xbox One menu screen. That hasn't. My opinion of that has not changed, but I
rough.
No, it's
I
clunky.
felt it
It's clunky.
necessary to throw some shade at the PlayStation as well.
Why is that?
So I found out a really, really stupid. I'm gonna call it a glitch
All right.
in the system today, where so I had 53 gigs of free space on my PlayStation.
Kind of close.
To what, the one was it 1 terabyte?
Yeah.
Mine's 1 terabyte.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I needed to download a 500 megabyte patch for Outer Worlds, and it kept saying I didn't have enough space. I'm like, well, there's 53 gigs of space.
Need some
I
room
do
to
not.
stretch.
I do not understand this. So I looked it up online. It turns out that if you're downloading a patch for a game or an update file for a game, it needs to know that you have enough free space to install the entirety of the game
That's funny.
and the patch, which still didn't make any sense.
Even
because
if the game is already downloaded?
that's what I read on a forum. Take it for what it's worth. But even though the game itself was only 39 gigs, so that's still enough. So I finally went through and I begrudgingly downloaded or uninstalled some games that I'd been leaving on for a long time. I'd left Fallout 4 on there since I first put it in, just because it's a game I keep going back to. But I'm like, you know what? You gotta play some other games. I deleted that. I deleted Assassin's Creed Odyssey for now, and just a few other games that I just knew I wasn't gonna get to anytime soon. But it was just annoying. There's 53 gigs of free space.
I still
I've
don't
never
know.
had that issue.
Yeah, I've never really. I mean, I only have 500 gigs, but I usually just delete a bunch of games that I'm not using, so I try not to hold on to them too long. But I was gonna say, I've been using my Xbox One to keep installing new games to it, and I still have no idea how to uninstall any of those games. I'm sure it's not too difficult, but I couldn't figure
I
it
can
out.
show you.
Yeah, can't you
It's
just
like you have
hit
to
the
go to, like-
options button on the game?
Yeah,
and
you gotta,
just go
like-
delete.
I couldn't find any like systems hard drive.
Yeah,
I
you got to
couldn't find any-
manage games, and then you go in, you hit
Yeah, isn't it like the games and apps area? And then you
Well,
can just
yeah.
hit
So
start over
yeah.
a game and
Yep.
just like go to uninstall or
it's not
delete.
start. It's double square or whatever.
Yeah, what do they call that?
I don't know. It's really dumb.
When Dan and I are online playing Halo, I'm like, oh, press the options start button, whatever this thing.
it's
I don't
start
know
and
what
options.
it is.
It's. I don't like this.
Double square and then lines.
Ugh,
Those
I
are
don't
the
like
two
this
buttons.
options and share. It's start button and share button.
It
That's
was
what it
start
should be.
and select
Select.
for such a long time. And then
It was universal language.
Well, then in the 360, I think it was start and back, which I also was fine
That
with.
makes sense. It's still okay. That's acceptable. It's still.
Now-
Then it's like share and options. Like no.
What was wrong with start? I'm assuming it's because most games needed that to start the game. Like on the Nintendo, a lot of the ones you get to the main menu. Usually I would just hit A, but a lot of them you also had
select
to hit
start, yeah.
start
Yep.
to start the game. But so yeah, that was that's the only shade I can really throw at the PlayStation UI though. For the most part, it's very clean. I like it.
Yeah, it's nice.
Xbox could learn
Yep.
a thing or two.
The only thing I'd like to do with the game is to be able to tile it if you want, kind of like the Switch, like all your games in one place.
I would like that. I haven't figured out how to tile the Switch, or I guess I should say I just haven't done it.
Oh yeah, the Switch kind of does it automatically, and then you just kind of expand it, right? Is that how it is?
Maybe I just have it in a line still.
Yeah.
My Switch broke.
What?
Yeah, there was a system error, and I ended up having to like take out the battery, put the battery back in, and do like a hard reset on it, like a button combo hard reset on it.
Jesus.
Yeah, I looked this thing. I scoured the internet to make sure I didn't have to send it in again because it's way past the warranty date. It's fine. Luckily, because I have the online service for Nintendo right now, all of my save files were on the cloud. And unfortunately, because my girlfriend did not have a Nintendo account attached to her username, all of her save files are gone.
Ooh.
She had gotten to the end of Breath of the Wild.
That's funny.
Oh, do you have something that's close to that, like on your own, that she could
I
just?
mean, yeah, but
It's not the same, but
she would actually have to go into my name and play as me.
oh, you can't copy and paste and use it. As well.
No.
Ah, that sucks.
Oh well, I don't know. Maybe I think you might be able to copy
That sounds
save
awful.
files. I haven't tried it, but
That
yeah.
does
So that was that happened the other day. There's a lot to talk about today. A lot to unpack. But first,
Yeah, let's
especially because Dano has been gone for
I missed a week.
but you've been gone for 2. If we're talking about literal time,
Oh, yes.
you've been gone for 2 weeks.
Yes, I have been gone for 2 weeks.
So tell us. I know you were just going into Death Stranding, but is there anything else you want to say about that, or about anything, any other games you're playing? You told me you just popped in Outer Worlds.
Yeah, no, I popped in Outer Worlds, and I only played about an hour because I popped it in just after I finished Death Stranding. It's incredible that, like, even some of the stupid dialogue from, like, I shouldn't say stupid dialogue, but dialogue that's, like, useless. It's not, like, important. Like, even the first guy you bump into and he's, like, hurt, and it's not a spoiler, he's just kind of hurt, and he's like, I need some help, and then he says that quote he's trying to say, and he's like, oh yeah, I did it. Like, it's just really funny, and all the sayings you can say some of them are really sarcastic and really clever.
A lot of them are sarcastic.
Yeah,
I
even the
noticed.
backstories, some of them, like, no barista or no, what was it? Something about, like, a cashier. It's like, nobody leaves that store without a smile, like, without getting a smile from your
It's
face.
Fallout
And
3 in space.
it really is. It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
it,
also like
it, the way I described it the other day, I tweeted it out, that it literally feels like the narrative style of Fallout 3 and New Vegas, along with the art style of BioShock and the loot and shoot system of Borderlands. I was like, this is like a match made in heaven. This is great. It did feel a little bit weird. It felt a little bit floaty.
It doesn't shoot or feel as good as Borderlands. As far
No,
as
it doesn't. It's hard to hit an enemy.
Feels
Like,
and shoots like Fallout 3, which
yeah.
was also a little floaty.
Yeah, it's a little floaty, but when
I say Fallout 3, I also mean New Vegas, because those were pretty much
yeah,
one of the
they're
same
pretty much identical.
for
So,
me.
it's hard to, like, lock onto an enemy. It feels like Fear too, where, like, I need that slow motion thing to get a headshot or something. So I put a lot of my points into that slow motion thing so I can save ammo and stuff. But even though it's a first person game, it is neat, and it kind of reminds me of what probably Cyberpunk is going to do, where while you're playing it's like, I forgot what my character looks like. Oh, cool. Like, you can see him right there. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure Project CD Red said that was their. Maybe you told me that was their idea. Was you go into the menu and there's your character that you made.
Like, that's neat. Borderlands did that too, and yeah, I understand. Like, Skyrim was third person and first person, but games that are all in first person, you get all this equipment. It's like, great, I can't do anything with it. But this one's like, oh yeah, that's my character, and I don't know if there's cut scenes where you can see your character. No,
I don't think so. I think
Outer
it's
Worlds? Because they said cutscenes like helmet on or off, and I was like, really? Because I only see it like they come right in the center of your face, and you kind of talk to them when you're talking to, like, an NPC. But,
maybe there is some cutscenes. I just assumed that there wasn't going to be any with you simply because there wasn't any voice acting for the main character.
okay, yeah, it's the silent protect. Well, silent, but yet he says it, like that
Yeah.
stuff. Kind of like Fallout 3, but
Matt, you were starting to say something earlier. Did you not like this game, or did you not like the idea of this game?
No, I was just saying, because, like, you guys were talking about how all the interesting Dan was saying the interesting kind of options, dialogue options you can say. I was gonna just joke that, like, I feel like it's like, when you're on a date and, like, you don't know what to say, so you go out and say something, and then, like, you get this horrible reaction.
Yeah,
and you're just
like,
like,
oh,
you're like,
shit.
oh shit, that was the wrong thing to
Yeah,
say.
wrong thing to
Oh my
say.
god, and, like, everything just goes haywire, and people start shooting at you for no reason.
Yes.
So it's like, it's kind of like these little monotonous, like, everyday conversations you have in this game. Like, you never know if something's gonna be like, oh my god, you just unlocked this new quest, or you unlocked, like, this new item, or, like, stuff's gonna get scary and someone's gonna start shooting at you because you said the wrong thing about some guy that they work for and you didn't know they worked for him. Like, it seems like there's a lot of background, that math that they're doing into these dialogue options. It's not just like this white noise where, like, you say 2 or 3 things and it all gets you to the same endpoint.
Yeah.
Like, it really does divert how this character interacts with you and how the path of the storyline goes. So.
yeah, no, I got some serious, like, Fallout vibes right from the beginning with the where you're in, like, that cell pod thing. Very much like Fallout 4, that, like, time capsule pod.
Oh yeah.
So right there was, like,
But,
Fallout 4,
like,
and then
time suspension.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
you land, and then you immediately go to, or I shouldn't say immediately. After you talk to that, like, commander woman who's like, "Whose ship is this?" and you go on the ship, and the commander the ship's like, "We have nothing of value on this ship. Like, please go away."
I
And
loved the AI for this.
the AI was great, and and then she's like, "Oh, the commander is dead," and you're like, yeah, and they're like, "You're the new commander, right?" Wink, and it's like, Oh yeah, and
I
she's like,
told her several times that was false. And
"What did she do?"
there was some very funny reactions.
Oh really? No, I was so fearing that she wouldn't like. She would
Yeah, she's programmed to only take orders from
Yeah,
this
so I
one
was like,
person.
shoot,
So she's
sure,
like,
I'm
just tell me
Alex.
you're that person.
Sure,
it'll be
I'm the
fine.
Alex guy.
I pushed that button as hard as I could. I wanted to tell her
that's
as many
funny.
times as
Did
I
she
could.
attack you?
No, she's
No.
just, it was,
It-
kind of all gets to the same place, just in a different
I
Yeah,
Does
she
way.
it-
does, she
does-
does kind of have like a condescending vibe that she gives to
Oh,
you,
I
where
love
she's,
it.
like,
I
kind of
love the
talking down
facial.
to you a
Like it's
little.
just kind of like an emoji. Like she'll kind of make like a face, like on the screen, and you can tell kind of like if she's pissed off. But she started getting pissed off, and I'm like, oh crap, I don't want to piss her off. Like I bet you there's some good stuff in here. Is that ship your ship? Like going forward, or
Pretty
Yeah.
sure it becomes like the hub.
Yeah.
oh, that's
you
awesome.
going forward.
Okay,
Yep.
because I just went to it.
You've
and,
played as much as I have.
oh, really? I
Yeah.
thought you played more than that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you use that to zip around the world. It's pretty much yours.
Oh,
for
that's
most of the
awesome.
game, I would
Okay.
say.
my plan is to play nothing but that between now and Saturday.
Okay, see, I
Nice.
thought you played a lot more than that. But and then I also got. Did you play Fallout 3, Matt?
I did not.
No, you played Fallout 3, Andy. Do you remember that sketchy guy that wants to blow up Megaton?
Yeah.
I got that vibe right away when I got to talk to that. There's a guy like in a top hat or something, not a top hat, but an old fashioned hat, and he wants you to basically go to this group of people that.
Oh yeah, the power supply.
Yeah, and he
thing.
wants you to bring them. He wants to shut off their or use their power supply and revert it back to the town and get everyone.
Oh, yeah.
I got some serious Fallout 3.
Yeah, that's a stressful quest.
Yeah, and I was
There's
I,
no
like,
right way
he's
to
talking to me, and
finish
I'm
that.
talking to the, and not only that, the girl, like, wow, she's got a lot of energy, like, just from like little. She's talking to me like, I don't know how I feel about this. You know, these people, they're good people, and I'm like, fuck, like, I don't know what I want to do because, you know,
Is that
I
your side character, you mean?
yeah,
Yeah, because I felt like that sometimes where I would make a decision and then like your side quest, your side character would like generally your like helper people would just kind of hint that like they don't agree with you on the subject, and it kind of makes you second guess the
Yeah, and
decisions
I'm
you were
like,
making.
because I was like, oh, you know what? I think this is a good idea. I think maybe this company doesn't look that bad, and this guy seems like he's pretty. He apologized for what he did or how he kind of ran him off, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe. And then I'm like, wait a minute, this is kind of like Fallout, where this is Vault
Piper
Tech.
disliked that.
Yeah, this is
Oh, dear.
this is like Vault Tech. They're kind of a evil company, and I'm like, shoot. So I just literally stopped talking to him, and I was sent out to go do that. So now I'm like, oh god, it's gonna be a bunch of people that are like in shambles, and I'm gonna feel bad taking away their power, but obviously I don't want to start a war with this giant friggin' city, and but no, I mean, just immediately within the first hour, I was like, wow, there's a lot of dialogue options. That's why usually in those games, I put a little bit into dialogue to have some fun, but usually I'm like, I want to focus on combat. This one, I'm like, nope, let's put a lot into dialogue. I want to see where this goes.
Yeah, that was one of the things that annoyed me because there's so many fun ways to upgrade your character, like dialogue, persuasion, like electronics, like mechanical, like different things that you can upgrade, lockpicking, and you kind of really have to decide about 2 or 3 tops things that you want to go down to get like a high level. Because like I want to try all these cool different things, but it's like I guess that's a good. It has like
value
good
type of
replay
thing, yeah.
value to it because you can try a bunch of different ways to play, but it seems like it does play pretty differently depending on if you decide to go like balls to the walls action or just be like a persuasive guy or just be like intimidating and scare everyone off. So it's kind of cool, all those different ways you can go.
Yeah.
So how did you play it, Matt? Did you rent it from GameFly or?
I did the Xbox Game Pass because it's on Xbox
for
Game
a buck.
Pass for
Yeah.
$1, and I just beat it in like a week. So you get Xbox Game Pass for a month for $1 and just beat it. You can do it on PC.
Speaking of Game Pass, I may have screwed myself over.
Oh, no.
By utilizing Game Pass, I downloaded 10 games
That's a
from
lot.
Game Pass that I plan on playing. Well, I'm pretty much using it as my GameFly right now. I figured, even though there's nothing like super new, but
Ooh, what you download?
there's a few games that have been on my list. One's been on my list since like 2009, but there's a few games on
That's
this
like
list
10 years.
that have been on my list for a few years, and others that just came out. So one is Brothers, Creature in the Well, which came out recently, but I've been really wanting to play that. Dead Cells, been meaning to play that for a while. Doom, been meaning to play that for a while. Hollow Knight, Life is Strange, Episode 2. I have Episode 1 or Season 1 or whatever on my PlayStation. Outer Wilds, which is a game I tried at PAX, not to be confused with Outer Worlds. Super Hot, which is just a fun that's just like a kind of a fun beat 'em up game. Messes with time, going
Oh,
back
you
and
gotta play
forth
that
between
VR.
Yeah, isn't that a VR game?
Yeah.
Is it VR only?
Yeah, I'm
it
pretty
might-
sure.
I believe so.
Does Xbox even have VR?
No, that's
Okay, maybe now you have a good point. Now I'm confused.
Yeah.
I thought it was a VR only game.
I thought it was too.
but
It's supposed to be every time you move, like
yeah,
time moves.
maybe there's a non-VR version.
You maybe just move the joystick to
Yeah.
move, and then the others move with
Oh,
you.
okay. But I would recommend playing it. See if they have it for PlayStation.
Ukulele, because
Yeah,
I missed out on that sale.
That's a
And now you got it for free.
And well, for now,
For
If I
$1.
keep Game. How much is Game Pass monthly? Usually,
I don't know. It's like, you know what? I don't know because
I don't think it's that much.
I think they said after the 3 months they're gonna charge you like $45 for the
yeah,
remaining year.
because I signed up.
So 45 times, but divided by what? So 3 months.
Yeah, but
so
I
9?
only wanted to keep it for maybe another month or so.
Oh, I have a thing on my cell phone that says cancel.
They have
after the 3 months.
They have like a deal
I
going
already
right
did
now
it.
where it's 3 months.
You can already cancel it,
free.
and then you still have access to it.
Yeah, it's like
Oh.
canceling PlayStation Plus or any other trial. What did you say, Matt?
There's a deal going on now, or at least there was like a week or two ago when I signed up, where you get 3 months for free, and then I think it's like $45 after that for every 3 months. But that includes Xbox Game Pass plus Xbox Live.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure.
that's what I
I
did.
think
how
that's
much
the
each of
thing I
them-
did.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
so you
I
still
think
have
that's
it
what
for a
we did,
couple
yeah.
months.
Yeah. So I just need to play all. Oh, and the last one was Fallout New Vegas, which I own. So God forbid I don't get to
Yeah,
that
never
one.
deletes. Yeah.
Well, all right. So here's the thing. I'm only gonna really try to get to the ones that I either don't own or I know are not easily accessible. Like Doom, both of you have. New Vegas, I already own.
As well as I have the Game of the Year one that has all the DLC as well, and some of the DLC is really good.
So the other ones are the ones I wanted to concentrate on. Some of these I might not even finish. I just really wanted to get the feel of, see if I really like them. But yeah, so Game Pass for me is going to be hopefully eventful. Hopefully I don't screw myself over with how many games I just downloaded because I have so many games to play.
True.
That is true. That is true.
Rough life.
Dan, what else you been playing? Anything else?
Yeah, I've been really pushing through Link's Awakening. I just completed the 6th. I think it's the 6th castle, or I don't know, castle, but level.
Dungeon.
Yeah. So, finally I can swim. So like half the level is now, and I just got the hook shot. So I'm like, oh my god, this is great because the whole area is. I got so stuck because I couldn't find that damn woman. Because like, oh yeah, find this woman. She'll wake up the walrus.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, but I couldn't find her. I was like, where the heck is she? So randomly, I was like, let me just go to the beach. Sorry.
Spoiler alert for
Oh,
anyone.
well, I mean,
That's pretty far into the game.
that is true. I mean, it's just, it's not a spoiler, like a story, sorry. But no, I finally found that, and I've been really enjoying the puzzles, and I only got stumped in one area, and it was stupid. Like, I went and not talked to the owl, but they have these owls for hints. And I looked at it, it was that skeleton fight. And I was like, how the hell do you beat this damn thing? And then I went to one of the owls, and he said the hints, and I was like, oh, you idiot. Because I spent 20 minutes trying to fight him.
I don't even remember. I didn't.
I don't want to spoil it for people to figure it out, but there was that, and then there was one where
I
was stuck.
I think with every boss, I just kind of, if I really couldn't figure it out, I'm just like, I'll just use every item until something works.
I did, but there was like different parts for that skeleton.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really funny that you're this far into the game because I remember just a few weeks ago when we were going through the games Dan is playing list, and I'm like, oh, you're probably never going back to Wind Waker, and you're like, oh my god, yes, I am going back to Wind Waker. But then you proceeded to say after that, I don't know if I'm going to finish Link's Awakening. And I'm like, oh, that's surprising because I'm loving Link's Awakening. So it's really good to hear that you stuck with it.
Well, yeah, because like I said, I think I just got super frustrated because I couldn't go in half the water, so that limited. So you had to go all the way around. Now you can just hook shot right across, the river, and you don't have to worry about that. I do wish there was ways to cut through a little bit faster through certain areas, because like sometimes I just want to search like what's over here, and it's like, oh, now I have to go up and all the way around.
They have some fast travel points, but they're not really convenient.
No,
like when
they're
you fast travel somewhere, and you still got to spend 5 minutes to get to where you want to go.
Yeah,
It's like it's a whole thing.
Yeah, so that was a bit weird. I mean, I do appreciate the fast travel part, but yeah, like the whole right side of the map, like you have to go like one certain area and then go all the way down to do that, and it's like did I forget something?
There's like a river rafting mini game.
Yeah, so I got most of the treasures or whatever that I could over there. It's really frustrating because it's just trying to look at all the the ways the waves go, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna go over here, so I'm like hopping around like an idiot in the raft.
I mean,
trying to get it to move.
it's just money and items.
Well, yeah, one of them is like a heart container that you can get. And,
yeah.
the general stuff. But I mean, you throw all those trinkets in front of me, even though it's great because if you do one of them's a race and one of them is like a grab all you can type of thing. So I just keep doing the grab all you can, going through, and I get my money back, and then just do it again,
Then
So,
I think you can get 2 items from the racing, 2 or 3.
anything really worth it?
One of them's a heart container, so
Okay.
the other's a shell.
Oh, okay. I'm not big into finding the shells. I think
I'm
when I find
one
it.
shell away. Oh, I actually,
Did you find it?
my girlfriend's roommate kind of.
Oh.
I don't want to say ruined, but
Well, how would you know the one you're looking for?
so no, not for the shell, but I was missing some heart pieces, and I knew that the Dumpy's Shack thing was an add-on, like the dungeon creator, so I just didn't do
Yeah, I skipped it
anything
too,
with it.
yeah.
But I guess you can get heart containers from it, and I didn't know.
Oh, that's
Oh,
obnoxious.
that's kind of.
Because you wouldn't think that, because it was
No.
an add-on
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
original game, you wouldn't think that they would be in there. So I technically was going to go back and try that,
You have
but
to build a dungeon? That seems weird. You just like build a
no,
dungeon.
he has like trials to go
Oh.
through.
Yeah.
But
You can try other people's online if you want, I guess. Something like along those lines.
Oh,
but
maybe.
It's neat, like, for if you're a creative person, but.
yeah, he kind of ruined it for me, but at the same time, I'm not sure if I was going to go back and figure that out, even though there is one seashell somewhere. I will find that one seashell.
That's gotta be frustrating too. At least you have the little. I just got the monitor thingy
Yeah.
that like beeps. So I was walking by, it's like beep. I'm like, oh, now
Did you
I.
get anything interesting from the seashells up to this point? Because I just completely said I'm not looking for these and got like 3 of them.
I got a more powerful sword, like it shoots out the beams.
Oh, that's nice.
If
It
you
shoots out the beams when you're full health.
yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
And then the magnet, and then I don't know what the last item
Magnet?
is. It helps you find the
Oh, right,
Seashells.
right, seashells. Yeah, that helps, but it's also kind of a hindrance because I'm like, I'm just gonna go here. Bam. Oh, crap! And I'm
you,
like,
like-
digging everywhere and
you,
just stopping.
they're not always underground. So you liking the game though?
Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. I love it's very old school style Zelda levels that is very like, hey, I have to, I really have to think about this. And no, I love it. This is the type of designs I love for a puzzle, or a puzzle level in a Zelda game, not the ones from the Breath of the Wild, which I thought were just very like lackluster. That when I think of Zelda, I think of like when I go in that dungeon, like I really have to, focus and think of everything that I walk past. Like, oh, there was a key room over there, and
Yeah.
So
really funny thing is in one of the dungeons, I don't remember which dungeon or what you get in there. I don't think you've gotten to the dungeon yet. It's the one where you get like the magic wand.
ooh, no, I haven't got that yet.
I was in this dungeon forever to the point where I'm like, do I need an item outside of the level? Like, I was really, really stumped for such a long time. Turns out it's because the brightness was not up enough on my Switch, so I couldn't see the walls where I needed to bomb.
Cracked.
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
Which-
I've walked by so many times, like, oh crap, I can bomb that. Whoops.
Yeah, well, I was because I was playing it on a plane, so I had the brightness lower to conserve battery power, and then I'm like, I just didn't see them. They
I'm
blended
curious
in.
how you're gonna like the last couple dungeons because I feel like I remember that I start to fall off my enjoyment of the game. Like as much as I loved the entire game as a whole, those last like 2 dungeons and then the final kind of boss area, it's almost like a little bit frustrating and like
Really?
obnoxious.
Oh,
You
I didn't
have
feel
that feeling
that
at all.
way. No.
I felt like the dungeons were like it was a lot of going back and forth, like you said, just kind of like trying to find that last
Oh, yeah,
wall
but
you
there is
break, or,
one,
like,
but
everything looks the same, but like you press a button and there'll be floors that'll change kind of
Yeah.
everywhere. So you gotta
Yeah.
figure, okay, I changed it and I checked everywhere. I changed it again and now I checked everywhere again.
that can
Oh,
be
water
frustrating.
temple, yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, I
Yeah,
find
kind of
that
like the water
challenging.
temple thing.
Yeah. The water.
It is like the water temple. Yeah.
The water, or the one that you actually learn how to swim. I thought that was neat. And I kind of like I can see how some people got really or can get stuck because they just don't think of this one thing to do. But luckily, like there was like, oh hey, there's this little pool of water in this one little room, and it looks deeper than everything else. And I was like, I wonder.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, got it. And then that's where like the key was, the nightmare key or whatever they call the boss key.
anybody who didn't want spoilers should have already clicked ahead by now.
Yeah, but you're not gonna know
none of
exactly
this is
what
really-
level I'm talking
yeah,
about.
None of this is enough to actually
Yeah.
ruin anything.
I'm
Oh,
not-
it was really funny because Dan was telling me about the beach thing or where to find the girl, and I'm just like,
Oh yeah,
I know
you were
where
like, "Hey,
she
just mention." Well,
is.
you said also just mention it, and I said the beach, and you just didn't say anything. I was like, "Oh." Whatever.
Oh yeah, because I told him like, where do you think she is?
I was like,
And
"The
I
beach."
told him I
He
wouldn't
didn't say a
react at
thing.
all.
So he didn't. I was like, "I think he's fibbing."
Yeah, I like. This is a Zelda that I want to like replay through. Like not immediately. I am going to be playing the original one soon, so I guess that'll be kind of a replay. It'll be kind of nice to compare and contrast.
Are the last few dungeons longer?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah, the
good.
final boss doesn't really have a dungeon though. It's really just
Yeah,
fighting
Oh,
him.
that's a little disappointing. Well, hopefully it's like I don't know, something about, I don't know, when I think of Zelda, I think of going up that giant cylinder in Ocarina of Time, that castle part, and like
Oh yeah,
getting to him, like that was.
Oh, that was like one of the most epic boss fights ever.
Yeah.
What have you been playing, Matt?
I've been going deeper down the rabbit hole that I suggest no one goes down.
But you're done.
Yes,
You've done.
sort of with an asterisk. Done in that I've stopped doing it. Like I didn't finish all of them. So we're talking about the Final Fantasy
those discs.
He's done.
Oh, good.
with the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy that I was trying to get through. So I finished up 13. I talked a lot about that. I did like half of the side quests, which are just kind of those one and done. You know, go to basically a message board, take a quest, and then go kill a monster.
Was
Do
that the longest one
Rinse and repeat.
of the three?
Yes, by far. Well, I didn't finish 3, so I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be the longest one, according to howlongtobeat.com. So I beat that. Yeah, story was kind of nonsensical, but okay. Like the overall story, the world building was a little interesting, but the story itself was very confusing with lots of similar names. The Lisi, the Felsi.
Yeah, that
the
was my
gods.
issue, and I always like listening to you talk about it and going back. If I had to classify it as something, I wouldn't classify it as good or bad. I would just classify it as average at best. But for a Final Fantasy game, average at best is really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked, like, overall, I actually really liked the fighting system of that game. It was really enjoyable. I think that's what kind of kept me going and kept me excited about playing the other games. Then it looked nice, and it kind of got better near the second half, which helped. But, I mean, after a point, it's just kind of you're doing the same thing over and over, and the story doesn't make a lot more sense, and the characters are kind of... They're not as interesting as a lot of characters that you would see like in other Final Fantasy games. So there's 6 of them in the group, but you really don't care about many of them. There's no real like, oh, this is the main protagonist. They kind of go back and forth. I guess you could say maybe Lightning is the main protagonist. But,
I would say so, yeah.
But I mean, you don't even have control of her for a lot of the time, and she's not a super interesting or deep character herself. So I beat that, and then I started Final Fantasy 13-2, which is the sequel to Final Fantasy 13. It was a pretty interesting game. So they must have heard about a lot of the complaints that people had, because I feel like some of the strongest points about this game are the fixes that the kind of drastic differences they made to 13's. Like, so for example, you start off the game and there's really no 20-hour tutorial or anything like that. Thank God. They kind of jump you right into the action, which is fun. A lot of the levels are kind of like open worlds, like you would see in like a Final Fantasy 9 or 10, where there's like cities with NPCs and just even like small things that add up. Like there's different characters that you can get a couple of voice lines of dialogue, and there's like no NPCs in 13. Just like in 13, when you want to buy stuff, you have to do it at a save point, and it's just this like blank store that you buy stuff from. But here there's this kind of like, you know, flamboyant woman that kind of follows you around the world. She's dressed as like a chocobo basically. But she ends up in these weird dungeons that doesn't make any sense. But like, it's kind of like the guy from Resident Evil 4 that just shows up and sells you stuff, which is kind of, it just, those little things add to the character. Yeah, so those are all the good things about it. I'm not sure. Yeah, I enjoyed it. So the storyline is even more confusing. It kind of got into this basically like a Kingdom Hearts territory level of just confusion and just nonsensicalness. So it's basically all about time travel. So you're going back and forth in time, like after the events of 13, and actually like things that happened at the end of 13 changed. So you're trying to figure out why is it different for you and no one else remembers it that way. And so not only are you going to these different places in different places of time, but you're going along different timelines. So like you'll go to the same place 2 or 3 separate times with different, like completely different worlds where like different things have happened. So it's very difficult to figure out, what's going on, why it's happening, and when it's happening, because you're going back and forth between time so much. So I just kind of
For a story that was already pretty confusing, and
yeah,
you didn't really care about.
you get to a point like you do in Kingdom Hearts where you're like, I just don't get it. I don't believe anyone gets it. I don't think the people that made it get it. So I'm just gonna enjoy it. The fighting was the battle system was kind of interesting. It was similar to the one that was in 13, but instead of having 6 rotating characters, you only have 2, and then your third character is like an enemy that you capture. So it has this kind of Pokemon style where most of the enemies that you fight, the regular ones, you can just like capture them at the end. You have like a small chance of capturing them, and then you can join them to your team.
Oh, like Octopath Traveler had a character who could do that.
Yeah, so like you'll have a guy on your team, and they'll just be like a healer, and then you'll have like I had a Chocobo that could, he was a commando, so they all have different. Instead of your characters, which have those 6 roles they can choose from, like in 13, these monsters only have 1 role, but you can bring 3 of them into battle. So you can have like a commando, a medic healer, and like a Ravager, which does like magic damage, like kind of like a black mage or something. So it's kind of interesting to capture those different guys. Like I started out with a Chocobo pretty quickly, and then I upgraded to a golden Chocobo, which was like a much better version. So it's kind of cool that there's different better versions around, and you kind of mix and match with their skills and abilities. One of the frustrating things about that though is, so it has that problem, same thing that you had in 13 with the item upgrades, is there's only so many, upgrade items that you can get in the game, and you just get these random drops from, like all the guys that you fight that let you upgrade your monsters. So you pretty much have to kind of decide, even though you're getting dozens of monsters throughout the game, you can't just like play around and test different ones. You're just kind of stuck with whatever you decide to throw all of your points into, because you can't like disembowel them and get them on back or anything.
Oh, so it's breakdown for like salvage or something?
Yeah, you can salvage. You can kind of like have one of them kind of salvage into another one, but it's not like it doesn't get all the experience. It's just like, oh, now it has 10% resistance to magic or something. So you have at least a little bit incentive to kind of move to a different one, but it's definitely not worth it overall. So you kind of have to choose early on.
So this was a game where your main character was named Lightning.
Correct.
And
13.
you did a lot of time traveling.
No, 13 was Lightning. So I probably should have started with this. 13-2, you're playing Sarah, who is Lightning's sister, who is like the whole point of the 13 game was to save her. And spoiler alert, at the end of 13, you basically save her, and she's the main character trying to find Lightning through time.
So you're stuck in different periods of time looking for Lightning. How many Back to the Future references were in this game?
None that I know of.
Well, that's just a waste.
I think
maybe
I'd
you
just
can play it,
rather
figure it
watch
out.
Back to the Future 17 times than play this game.
I have.
It was actually, I was kind of surprised how, like, because of all those little improvements they made, it was a game that was at least as good as 13. I feel like maybe it was even a little bit better. It didn't overstay its welcome. It was a little shorter too. I just didn't like the time travel, just with a story that's already so kind of out there and confusing with all those different terms and just kind of like this like vagueness about it. It just seems like it just kind of exacerbates that and makes it
The
even
Marvel
worse.
Cinematic Universe waited for like 20-something movies to even mess with time travel, and they're asking
Yeah.
you to like care about this story that, sucked.
Yeah, and
to begin with.
so 13 took me like 60 hours to beat. This one only took me like 25, so it's definitely much shorter. So then I started playing Lightning Returns, which is the third game in this series. I was kind of determined to beat this. I was excited about like actually, going down this rabbit hole and being one of the actually people that understands what's happening. But I only got maybe 4 or 5 hours into this game because it felt very tedious and boring and like so you're just playing as Lightning. This one's set in the future. You're basically trying to like save Sarah from the second game.
But it's like way in the future, isn't it, too?
Yeah, it's set 500 years in the future. Like there's a lot of confusing, like there's a god that chose you to be like the goddess, and the world is ending in 13 days. So you have to save as many souls as you can throughout the 13 days. And then if you do well enough, supposedly you'll save this god that chose you will save Sarah for you. And it basically plays out like it's kind of like a detective game where you'll get, at least early on, where you get these missions and you have to go around the city to solve the mystery of like, oh, who are these bad guys? What are they doing here? So you're basically talking to a lot of NPCs and you're getting some side quests, which is kind of interesting. Except the big problem is So the whole game is timed in
Oh.
real time.
Ew.
Yeah, and if you're talking about like I don't know, like one of my favorite things about RPGs is taking my time.
Yeah, enjoy yourself.
Like grinding, leveling up. But you can't do that at all because you're feeling stressed. Like there's a clock in the top right that's constantly clicking down. You can do some things to kind of stop it for a short amount of time and slow it down, but it's going to keep going. And like so early on, there was a quest where I had to find 4 numbers, and I found 3 of them in 30 minutes. It was pretty quick, and then I spent like 2 hours trying to find the last number. It wasn't like in a special place. It was just like on the back of a building, kind of hidden, and it's just like it was really boring, and I couldn't do any side quests in that time. And then after that, I did some side quests, and like one of them I completed, and they said, okay, go back to this place and turn it in, and the NPC wasn't there. So it was like all these little frustrating things added up, and just the game itself. So you're only playing as Lightning. There's no other characters, and they just kind of the battle system is kind of confusing and difficult to explain. But you have like 3 different suits, kind of like in Final Fantasy X-2, if anyone's played that, where you kind of change your dress sphere basically in that game. You change your suit, and like you get some different skills, which is kind of interesting. But like you only have a list of abilities to use. So if you only have 2 attack abilities in your inventory, only 2 of your dress spheres out of your 3 can even have attack. And then if you only have 1 guard ability, only 1 of them can block. So you'll have to like...
Also, you don't get any experience from the random battles, right?
Yep. So all the random battles net you 0 experience. So you don't level up. You don't do any, like, which is kind of like the whole point of RPGs and taking your time. You get leveling. You don't level up. The way you level up or get more like health and attack power and magic power is to do side quests, which, the side quests in this game, they're kind of, they're very vague, and they don't give you a lot of direction about where to go, which, again, wouldn't be as big an issue if you didn't have this clock over your head. So it's like you're trying to go in this big world, this big kind of empty world, and trying to figure out, okay, where's this teddy bear that this girl wants me to find? And it's just kind of, it's there, but she doesn't give you any really hints to where it is, and it just gets really frustrating and tedious, and that's why I just couldn't go any further, because basically at the point where I finished that side quest and the NPC wasn't where they said they were to turn it in, and my time was just running out, I was just like, all right, I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore. It's exactly everything I don't want from an RPG.
It's just so funny that you were in it for that long haul. You went so far, and then on the last game...
Yeah, it's such a weird game, because like it doesn't even look good. The other games look really nice. Even by today's standards, they look really pretty, but this game just feels like this like PS2 era game where the backgrounds are just kind of very bland. And
now, could that have been the Xbox One pumping up the graphics on the first 2, but they didn't bother doing that for the third one because it was so...
I mean, that could be part of it. It came out at a very strange time. So the game came out at the end of 2013. It came out a week after the PS4 came out, and it came out a day before the Xbox One came out. So it's
weird.
I'm sure not a lot of people bought it because it was, besides it being the 3rd game in a series that wasn't that popular to begin with, besides the fact that it's a Final Fantasy game, so people are going to buy it anyway. It also came out the same week as like 2 major console releases, so it kind of got lost in the noise, I would imagine. But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week, and I did not... that last one left a pretty bad taste in my mouth, and actually, I did kind of, after finishing that, I wanted to play another... I want to play some more like kind of JRPGs, so I started playing Final Fantasy 15, because that's the only thing I could really think of. I feel like a lot of the RPGs...
Which he has already played before.
Yes. I feel like it's not from what I remember, it's not an amazing game either. So it's just kind of, I'm settling on it.
The story was just, The combat I really enjoyed. That's why I'm excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I'm not loving the combat in 15.
It's fine.
I kind of want more of that time-based,
I want the hack and slash part of it.
They're doing less and less in RPGs these games, with like The Witcher and, Fallout games. Like they're kind of straying away from that, which is kind of, a bummer. I like the kind of tactical way of like, okay, choosing on these options. I do like how in 13 they make it really fast.
Play Greedfall.
Yeah, hack and slash is just boring.
Depends on how they do it.
Yeah, it depends on how they do it. I mean, God of War technically was a hack.
I know
you
that's
didn't
why it was
love
boring.
It, but there are games. There are games that do it well, and there are games that make it interesting, and you're always upgrading and doing things. Like Devil May Cry is a hack and slash, but they make it interesting.
Yeah, Devil May Cry is, but that's what it is. Like Final Fantasy 15, I feel like it's like, okay, I'm attacking, I'm dodging, and then like if I want to expend some magic, which I don't want to use up because it's very finite, you have to get more magic from like little places around the map, so I don't really use it that much. So you're just basically pressing X over and over.
Yeah, but you got to do that in other Final Fantasy games, even if it's turn-based. You still have to.
Well, with that, you've got like, okay, you've got all these different kind of like, you've got like Thunder Strike and, you know, regular attack, and then you've got Thunder, and then you've got Aora and like Runa,
but
like all these crazy
get that.
spells and stuff.
In Final Fantasy 15, you
You
get
do,
that.
but you can't really use a lot of them as much, and it doesn't seem like there's as many different types.
Well,
there's not, like-
because you're constantly moving, you know, you can't navigate a menu. But that's where I think Greedfall. I might have asked you this, but did you play Dragon Age?
no.
No. So Greedfall is actually kind of neat because you can, in the middle of a fight, it is a hack and slash at its heart. It plays a lot like Fable, where you get a gun.
Yeah, I
but
never
you
played
can,
that.
Oh, okay, but you can aim at someone kind of like oh my god, Dark Souls type of thing. So you connect to that one character. Actually, Star Wars, because I know you just recently played that Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
You lock onto one character and you can fight him if you want, but if you want to switch characters, you just kind of like bounce between them. But the neat thing with Greedfall is that you can pause at any time and there's no time limit, and you can choose your next action. So you literally could play the whole thing as, you know, do the action, have it do the damage, pause it again, see what you did, go to the next, like, look at all the enemies, see, you know, who's the most dangerous or whatever. So you can legit play it like a turn-based RPG if you want, and you know, if you get to the last character and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna finish him off, he's easy, so you get out of it and just hack away. But I mean, if you can forgive some of the graphics because it's made by a smaller, you know, indie company.
I don't really care. I usually don't care about graphics as long as it's fun.
Yeah, I think it might be something up your alley. It has a lot of interesting dialogue choices.
Yeah, the only thing is the little bit I've seen about that game, it seems like it would be a little too slow for me. Because I mean, not to say that it's a bad game, but like I like kind of faster pace of the story. Like, is there?
You beat Death Stranding, right?
Yes, I did. But like,
I mean,
the more
talk
time,
about the slowest.
I had to beat that just because of, you know,
Happening.
the zeitgeist around it. But like the more time I have away from Death Stranding, the more I'm just like, that was
see, the
okay.
more I want to
That was
replay
okay
it.
at best.
I mean, I was ready to change your nickname to the Completionist until you told me you didn't beat Lightning Returns.
Oh man, you should play that
Can
Lightning
you not
Returns.
make him go back and play that terrible thing?
I didn't say you
I really
should.
wanted to. Like, it broke my heart to stop playing that game 5 hours in when I had already invested like 80 hours into the first two games. Like, I was really excited. If it was as good as the other two, I would have been happy.
Well, Kingdom Hearts 3 you didn't even beat, right? You beat all the other ones, but
You
you
got
gave
last-
right
yeah.
to the end.
right to the end. Jesus.
One of the most frustrating things about Lightning Returns is I don't know about you guys, but my favorite part about RPGs is like the very beginning where like the world's opening up to you. You haven't screwed anything up yet. Like, you can, like, every potion you get is like, oh, I've done literally everything in this game because I found every secret so far. Like, I'm doing literally every side quest. I'm just kind of overpowered for where I should be, like, even without investing a lot of time. And then the more time and the more complex it gets, it's still a lot of fun, but like, I no longer feel like, oh, I have a grasp on everything that's happening. I have to either choose between, at some point I have to choose to just kind of stop playing these side quests and go finish the game. And I just didn't, even at the very beginning of this game, I was like, oh, this combat system is not as good as the other two. The story's not as good. Or the time crunch on everything I'm doing is stressful and not fun, and completely the opposite of what I feel like an RPG should be. It's just like every turn it was like something disappointing and less than the other two games. Like, the other games both had things that were like maybe a little better. 13 was looked a little better than the other game, and, you know, had a longer story and some more main characters. And then the second game had a lot of other things going for it that I just discussed. But this one had, like, in every asset, it was weaker than the other two. So,
You know how we joke a lot about how Resident Evil 7... Was it Resident Evil 7 Biohazard? Is that the full title of it? We joke a lot about how it was originally a different game and then they just decided to slap Resident Evil on at the last minute. I wouldn't be surprised considering how close these games came out together. Like 3 Final Fantasy games in a generation like that. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe each one of those was a different game and then they just like changed the assets to match Final Fantasy 13 because each game was drastically different.
yeah, they were pretty drastically different, especially that last one. I mean, I don't know. You could be right on that. I know they had some like kind of broader plans for this Final Fantasy 13 world. It's just kind of, it's just interesting that they kind of picked the first Final Fantasy that didn't really land. People are fans of like the 7 through 10, and then 12 has a pretty big following too. Like if they made multiple games of like all of those, I'm sure they would have done better. I mean, 10-2, I'm assuming did fine. I'm not sure if like Dirge of Cerberus or anything did okay.
No, it didn't. I would love them to make a full-on remake of Final Fantasy VI. I would be so into that. That was, even for a Super Nintendo game, it was so cinematic.
10 first.
Yeah, I never played.
They already did an HD remake of
No, I
10.
want like a full like change the combat like Final Fantasy 7 is.
Yeah, I was saying Final Fantasy VI because we haven't seen that.
Oh,
in like
okay. Yeah, that'd be neat.
It gets me interested to think
3D.
about what they're doing as far as like a Final Fantasy 6. Are they making a Final Fantasy 16? Is the fact that they're making a bunch of Final Fantasy 7s going to mean we're never going to get 16, or it's going to take like 10 years? Like, so
They could be doing kind of like what it seems like Capcom's doing is now that Capcom has found a gold mine with like, hey, we can have one team work on an older Resident Evil, that's guaranteed cash, and then we can have someone work on the new one. So old, new, kind of like with Square Enix. Maybe it's like, all right, we have one team that just remasters and remakes an older one, touches it up or whatever, and then we have another team make a new one.
yeah, that'd be nice. Like, as excited as I am about the 7 remake, just playing through these old games and like now playing 15. I mean, not that they're older, they're kind of newer ones, but it makes me really want to get like a new Final Fantasy, see what they could take for a stab with. I mean, presumably we'll get like at least one new Final Fantasy mainline game in the next console generation. Like, is that going to come out soon? I mean, technically they could have been working on it for the last 3 years, or technically maybe they've just been working on the 7 remake, so they haven't even started anything.
Ooh.
It's hard to say.
So we don't know really anything about Final Fantasy 16, but we do know it has a director, and he said in an interview that he wants to see a new game that returns the series to its classic fantasy roots and gets away from the high-tech aesthetic that has proven popular in recent years.
That'd be nice, because I feel like that'd be kind of, be something like 9, which was really kind of magical and fun.
Yeah, or even the FF11, the first MMO one, was kind of like more like it was trying to be more like WoW, where it was a little more magical. But I think going back to what we were saying about the combat, I think Final Fantasy VII looks like it's going to have a good mix of the action and the turn-based. Because I agree with Matt, I didn't really like the combat in FF15. It just seemed kind of bland.
Yeah.
Couldn't really be
Didn't feel
very
like a Final Fantasy
tactical with it. But in FF7 remake, from what we've seen, you can like do things like slow down with certain things depending on what meters are up and be able to kind of plan a little bit. So I like that. I don't just like it to be like, hey, I'm hitting this enemy with my sword the same way over and over again. Like that's why I like things like I can't even think of like a game that amplifies it well. Like I like games where if you hit something with a sword, there's weight to it. Like, I'm hitting it. It's not just me hitting through the enemy.
Bloodborne. That's very weighty. Like your character, if you're carrying a sword that's way too big and he swings, you feel like
No, not literally weighted, but like weighted in a sense that I'm not just like hitting X and it's just doing the same motion over and over again. It's just slicing through the enemy and doing damage. I want my hits to mean something. I think Sekiro had that where like each hit felt like it was actually like.
Oh, see,
doing
the funny thing with Sekiro is when you hit someone, it doesn't really do any damage. It's all about throwing off their stamina or their guard, and then it breaks
that's
their
kind of
guard.
what I mean.
Oh, okay. So it makes them move, but you're not actually physically doing damage. That's the frustrating thing with Sekiro is you can get really deep into a fight, trying to get their guard down, and then they can hit you once, and then their guard goes all the way back, and they. Essentially you spent 5 minutes trying to work on that
Yeah.
and you did no damage.
We'll be talking a little more about Sekiro
Yes.
right after I go over the games I've been playing, which, once again, is going to be a short conversation.
That's good. We've been talking for a while about.
Started Jedi Fallen Order.
No
I
good.
really like it.
Isn't it awesome?
It is fun.
It's very much a like.
Metroidvania.
Well, it did a very good job of being like you are in the Star Wars universe. It had the aesthetic, it had the design, the sound, the feeling. Like I feel like I am in the Star Wars universe, which is not something I got from Battlefront 2. It's not something I've gotten in a very long time.
Yeah, it's nice, and they don't like rely heavily on fan service. Like, oh, here's Chewbacca, here's here's Luke Skywalker. Like it's kind of they've created these new interesting characters, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, the what are they called? the Night Sisters.
Yeah.
Is that
yeah.
what they're called?
That
That's a cool like style enemy. I was like, oh damn.
So I haven't gotten too far into it. I finally, instead of selling my download code for the Xbox One, I just kind of put it in, and then I was surprised because like maybe I've been spoiled, I guess, comes to find out, because I was playing the game and like there were certain times where it's like textures would take a little bit to pop in and stuff like that, and then I realized, oh, I don't have an Xbox One X, I have an Xbox One S.
Yep.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? I'm having a lot of problems on the PlayStation 4 Pro with this game. I've had it
With those
crash.
same issues, or
Yeah, with crashes. Not only that, it seems like it's very heavily animated. You can tell, like obviously when he runs on walls and things like that. There's a lot of like steps going on, a lot of movement. The character's very animated. But I just noticed like when he's moving a lot, it looks almost like he's losing some pixels a little bit. And it just doesn't look clean. And I've looked.
I wonder.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was gonna say that. I wonder if that has anything to do with your TV settings as opposed to the game. Does it look like the
No,
game's
'cause-
dipping out?
I don't
Yeah.
think so, because I've heard a lot of stuff kind of anecdotally about that too. Like there's a lot of like this game was maybe needed 3 more months of polishing. Like a lot of people are saying it's a good game, but a lot of people have been running into issues.
Yeah.
I think I ran into a couple
really?
graphical issues too.
It's
once or twice.
I'm having trouble. I mean, I put it on the highest difficulty because I'm an idiot, but I'm having trouble
God, that must be frustrating.
parrying the and turning the lasers back on the stormtroopers. You have to be like, I was sitting there practicing like while they were shooting at me. Where
Well, yeah, because you put it on the highest difficulty, it shows you at the beginning your parry
parry's
time is
di-
like such a thin line for you.
but like I'm really timing it like perfect, and it feels odd. Like sometimes I'm just not getting it, and then other times I am. So usually in a game like that, I usually can figure it out pretty quick.
have you tried just spamming it?
Yeah, it goes through and hits you because they always try and prevent the spamming so that you can cheat.
I didn't
So-
do normal. I did the next step up because I think you're on the one up from me.
I'm on the highest.
I'm between you and normal.
yeah,
I did,
because
I did on normal, and that was frustrating enough. I can't imagine
It
doing
hasn't-
on the hardest.
Become frustrating yet, but again, this is going back to what I was saying about things feeling weighted. Like I don't just feel like I'm repeatedly pressing a button to slice through enemies. I feel like every move I make holds weight, metaphorically. Like, I really have to make my decisions on whether or not I'm going to parry, when I'm going to slice, that kind of stuff. I really like that. So far, the combat's been pretty good. It has been so far linear for the most part, but
did you get off the first planet yet?
yeah, but that's just so far.
Okay, yeah. The first planet, I think they didn't want to overwhelm you.
It was to learn how to play.
Yeah. And no, I had a lot of fun with
Yeah.
that. I love the droid.
It kind of reminded me of
Wally.
not the droid. The
Oh.
game kind of reminded me of Mirror's Edge because I knew which grates I could climb up because they were always red
Oh,
and they
different
always
colors, yeah.
had
A rope.
like the same paint
Or yeah.
job on them, so that was pretty funny. But yeah, I'm enjoying that so far, despite its graphical issues. I didn't know that it needed more polish, although it is an EA game, so I'm not surprised
Well, it's
considering.
Respawn typically.
Yeah, I imagine they wanted to get it out for Q4 and before the movie.
Yeah, do you think EA, if they went to EA saying they needed 3 months more polishing, EA would be like, oh yeah, take 3 more months?
Honestly, I think they should have waited a week before the movie to release it. Technically, have some more time. Do an update. I mean, it's still an amazing game, and there is a performance adjuster. You can switch it from 4K down to 1080p for the performance.
Well, I don't even have that option on the Xbox S.
Oh, you don't? Well,
'cause
I mean,
it's not 4K.
it looked bad when I put it to 1080p. I don't know if that's just me being like, I'm so used to 4K games.
I think we're spoiled.
Yeah,
Because you have a One X, so none of the
well, I'm
things
playing
you're.
on Pro.
I know, but what I'm
yeah.
saying is like it's when you go to your Xbox, you're still playing on 4K for the newest games too. So
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
like no matter which one you choose. Where me, I didn't notice like, oh my god, this looks like complete shit. I just noticed like, oh, things are tipping in and out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's probably just because I'm on the One S. Either that or before I found out about the polishing thing, I figured like, oh, maybe nowadays they're just making games that just are too powerful to run on these systems. That was my other thought. But the other thing I was playing was Control, and I was trying to play it as soon as possible because someone at this table who's nice enough to let me borrow the game also wants to play the DLC for it. So I was really trying to push my way through it. I wasn't able to complete it, but I really want to.
Okay,
It
keep
was
it.
a really good game. Oh, no, I don't mind letting you have it back to
No.
the DLC,
Okay, go ahead,
but,
keep it. If I was just worried that you at that point, like, yeah, I'm just not going to touch it, so I'm done. If you want to beat it. Please beat it.
Oh, it's really fun. I like it.
Good.
It's been frustrating at times. There was one boss I had to try to beat like 5 times. It's just because I kept
Eyeball, dude.
no flying guy.
Oh,
It was just because I kept you. All right, so right before you fight him, you get this ability where you can whip. By the way, I love how much destructible environment there is in this
it's
game.
nuts.
It's really fun.
Yep.
So I thought, I just learned this ability. My Zelda senses are tingling. I have to use this ability to beat him. I just kept trying to throw things at him, and he just kept like dodging them, and then I don't know.
the flying guy you can't hit with the throwing stuff.
You could,
but he dodges very quickly.
So then finally, I'm like, I'm just gonna shoot him with the gun, and he went down so easily. I'm like, all right, I guess I should have been doing that from the beginning. But
The tough part towards the end of the game is you'll meet certain enemies that are only weakness against like one thing.
like when they have like the orbs around them, I'll usually throw something at them first and then shoot them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but there'll be that, and then there'll be a floating guy, and then so it's like,
Yeah,
all right, I gotta throw that. I gotta shoot him. So towards the end, it's
You are so squishy though. You die so quickly. Like I'm always
Really?
clamoring to pick up some. Yeah, well, especially from that boss. Like the boss, he would kill me in 2 hits. So
Really? Oh, you know why? Because one of the abilities I grabbed early was you get like twice as many orbs or something for health. So I used to go after the little guys and get their health, and then
yeah, and I do that, but
Oh,
you're
okay.
still squishy. Like you still lose health really quickly when you get hit.
oh yeah,
I think I had like a health regeneration.
yeah.
That's my ability. Maybe it's the same one you're thinking of.
The
but-
the music like in the menu is terrifying. Like when I turned it
Yeah.
on, it just sounds like an empty hallway with like wind going through it. It's really creepy.
the story is weird in a sense. Like I know I'm not supposed to understand it, but part of me is for some reason.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's off-putting that the main character, Jess, I think her
Yeah.
name is. It's off-putting to me that she accepts everything that happens so
Yeah,
nonchalantly without like any like.
Well, that's every horror game. I mean,
I feel it. Well, I feel like any other game where someone's in that position, they'd be like, "Why is this happening? What's going on?" She's just like internally talking to herself, like, "All right, I get it." I
Yeah, I'd be like
understand."
running out of the building and driving far away.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I actually I thought you were going to be taking it back.
no. At
And
that point, I'm
that
glad you're this far. So yeah, no, beat it. Go ahead.
At that point, I was just going to restart it because I'm like reading all of the notes and everything like that. I like really want to know what's going on in this game. It's like she's just
Oh, the notes are just
spoiler alert for anybody who's planning on playing this game, but this happens the first 5 seconds. The director dies, and then because he died, because you took up the gun or whatever, you become the director, and she just accepted that so quickly.
I think she knew something. So
Yeah, it's something to do with her brother.
yeah.
Yeah. But
So
anyways, I'm generally enjoying the game.
it was interesting because I was wondering because Matt did not enjoy it at all, pretty much.
Correct.
Yeah,
I
you-
don't have a lot of tolerance for like nonsensical storylines. I mean, I get, which is weird because I just talked possibly kind of about 13, which is also
I was just
a
gonna
storyline. But I don't know.
I don't like slow games. I beat
I
Death
get-
Stranding.
I get annoyed when there's a lot of like data logs to read, and they're just like they're not telling you anything about what's going on, and then
That's true. Like a lot of the
Just
little
get
things you collect,
frustrated.
it does stop you from kind of doing the game, and then it's like hard
Half
to
the crap is blacked out in that game.
like I couldn't understand how the upgrades for the guns worked. Like you would get all these items that you could use to upgrade, but like most of them were useless, and then it was like, all right, how do I get more slots on this? It was just they didn't explain a lot of things, which also frustrated me. But also, I think I'm just dumb when it comes to these games. Like I'm not paying enough attention usually.
If I had to pick one negative, and it's not even really a negative, it's just like I noticed this was when you run around or walk around, it's a little. I feel like the running and walking controls could have been a bit tighter, but that's like such a minor notice. Like I know it's like half the time I'll like the cameras. Maybe I need to just adjust my camera settings because half the time I notice like I want to take a tight corner and I'm not taking a tight corner. I'm running into things all over the place.
I like it because it's one of those few third-person games that plays from a very like a distance. A lot of
Which
like,
normally you can change in most games.
yeah, but Resident Evil 4 is like really tight to the almost like to his back,
Oh, yeah.
And although in Resident Evil 4 it's very tight to his back, this one's very well for obvious reasons because they want you hopping around and levitating and doing all that. So they want you using know
Yeah.
all the stuff around you. You don't want to be I can't see anything because my character's in the way.
Yeah.
So
The combat is very satisfying, though.
It is, and especially the more you have the grapple, you can pick stuff up with their powers and throw it. That is awesome.
I like how it outlines anything that you can pick up too. It's like
I was
stuff
picking
everywhere.
up tanks, and later you can get an ability that when an enemy is down to barely any health, you can use him and throw it.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So you'll be shooting him, take him, throw it at
Yeah.
him, and it's nuts.
So those are the really the only two games that I've been playing over the past week, aside from still I was dicking around in like the Untitled Goose Game. I was dicking around in Link's Awakening for a bit.
Is the Untitled Beaker game a real thing? Can you play as Beaker? In the Game Awards, they had Untitled Beaker game.
I think that was just a bit.
Oh, that was cute. That was adorable.
But yeah, the Untitled Goose Game's pretty fun. It's just puzzle solving, but in a very funny, adorable way. So that was really fun. Luckily, I still have that save file on my Switch. Yeah, that's about it. And from now up until Saturday when we record our special podcasts, I'm going to be playing Outer Worlds. Because I feel like I might pick that as my Game of the Year game, but I'm not sure yet. Still deciding.
There's a lot of good ones.
Speaking of Game of the Year, actually, one more anecdotal thing.
Anecdotal.
Matt and I talked about this last week. Matt and I talked a bit, for whatever reason, about Kingdom Hearts last week. I think it's because the DLC was announced on the State of
Remind
Play.
or something. Matt, are you gonna with this DLC? Are you gonna go back?
I am not.
Wow. Even with the increased difficulties and stuff, like I feel like they really tried to apologize and be like, "Here, look, we did things."
I'd have to go through all the bosses and actually finish 3, and then download this. And I just don't care about it anymore. It's just
if you don't care,
the
don't do it.
entirety of
No,
3
that's
was
true.
just the entirety of 3 was just not fun.
So Matt and I were discussing because all right. So the DLC, the two things I noticed about the DLC coming from someone who hasn't played any of the games really is
Final Fantasy characters coming back.
They were talking about this box, which I guess was like a huge plot device in Kingdom Hearts 3 that they just didn't bother solving. And B, Final Fantasy characters up the wazoo. And then Matt and I got into a discussion why is Squall called Leon in this game? And that's, if you go, you played Kingdom Hearts 1 recently. You remember. Yeah, he's called Leon. And I always just thought it was one of those things where, because I never beat Final Fantasy VIII, maybe something happened at the end of, because I think in Final Fantasy VIII at one point you lose your memories or something like that. So I thought, I thought it had something to do with that. I always assumed. So my girlfriend listened to that portion of the podcast because she only listens to the portions that pertain to her, and she's a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. She's very excited for the DLC.
Oh, good for her.
It's stupider than we thought. He takes the name Leon because Squall wasn't able to protect his hometown when it was invaded by the Heartless. He feels regret over the weakness of his past self and takes the name Leon as a way of reinventing himself and his desires to become someone capable of defending those he loves.
Ew. What a loser.
She also said it was partly because of spoiler issues too, because I guess there was probably a demo for the game. One of the first things Mickey tells you is go to Leon. I'm assuming if he said go to
you said
Squall,
Squall, yeah.
it might be
kinda
spoilerish, but
What's his name? Kojima did with Metal Gear Solid 5, where they were like, "Oh yeah, it's played by a new person now," and
I wasn't able to protect my hometown. I'm gonna change my name.
and he's
it
supposed
just
to be
sounds
this
like
tough
nonsense.
guy too. In the first one, he
Yeah.
was like, "You have the Keyblade." Brr."
Also, it's only contained in the universe of Kingdom Hearts because Heartless attacked his town. So it's not even like an overarching Final Fantasy thing. I mean, I guess everything in the Kingdom Hearts series is kind of separate from anything that happened in the Final Fantasy games anyways. I mean, same thing with the Disney stuff, but
that is true.
I don't know. That was just I just thought it was dumb.
I feel unsatisfied.
Speaking of dumb DLC, I don't know if you guys talked about this last week or whatever, but did you notice or hear about the there was a lot of outcry for Call of Duty Modern Warfare because they announced a $20 DLC that is a watch
I heard
for
that.
your character?
Oh, to tell the death count or something like that?
Yeah.
How many kills you got?
No, how many deaths?
Deaths, yeah.
So they took away the deaths, which the more I've been playing Modern Warfare, the more I like the fact that they took out the deaths because
You can see him at the end of the match anyways.
you can see them at the end of the match, but also I used to be very I still play it like I want a good kill death ratio. I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, I'm 4 and 8, but I got 4 kills, yay. No, but it forces you to be like, I'm having a bad match, but I don't know what my death count is, but screw it, I'm gonna go out. So it kind of prevents the person from, or at least I hope more people from camping. Which, yes, we know this game unfortunately does have a camping problem, as Andy can easily tell you.
I pretty much rage quit the game.
Nice.
Not rage quit. I just stopped. I'm like, I'm gonna take a break.
Yeah, but I did find it neat that I tried hardcore for the first time. That's without all the UI, the user interface. People play it a lot slower, so you won't get as many kills. But fun? It's fun. It's more intense too, because like I said, people are quieter. People are always trying to like sneak around. But you're trying to sneak around as well, because you can't run around like an idiot, because one bullet in the knee pretty much kills you.
Yeah. Which that's how it always was in all of them. Like Black Ops 4, I played a lot of hardcore. I enjoyed it a little more.
Yeah.
I feel it's still the UI though. The no UI thing's a bit different, but
I do like that though, because like I said, someone might not know, and it just plays at a very different pace. And I tried it for the hell of it, and it also changes the way. You customize your loadout. So, like, oh, you know what? I don't really need Ghost anymore because nobody uses UAV. So you can use that for something else. So it's just neat to possibly drag you back in. As well as I know that I re-downloaded Battlefront with the whole celebration pack that came out, and there's tons of like free DLC that came out.
I installed it.
Yeah, I installed it as well
already.
So
because you told me about that.
Yeah, I played one game.
I wouldn't mind going back to that game.
Yeah, we can switch between that and Battlefront. That and Halo.
Dan, it's been 2 weeks, so you might have forgotten by now because I think you saw my phone. I asked Matt this last week, and we had kind of a long discussion about it. I'm going to keep it really brief. I feel like it has to do with our listener mail today. What if I told you there? Actually, you're probably going to guess this right away, considering. Oh wow, that's a long email. What if I told you there was a console exclusive game that has an 8.7 or somewhere around those lines critic score and like an 89 user score that none of us have played that came out this year? Console exclusive major release game.
Astral Chain.
Yeah. Did you already know that? Because I had it on my phone a couple weeks ago.
Well, if it's a bigger game, I would just think it's Astral Chain because it was one I was very interested in, and people kept saying good things. But I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for another hack and slash because I was playing.
All right, so here's the thing. Matt and I went over this last week. I couldn't tell what the game was going to be, and then reading looking at the commercials and at the ads for the game, I'm like, I don't think it's for me. But then I read the description of what you do in the game, and I'm like, oh my god, this sounds great.
You play as like a cop with
You're
like
a detective solving cases, and you go into this virtual reality to do all the fighting and everything like that. I don't know. It sounded really neat. And then we ended up getting an email, and the person in the email brings it up. So I just thought that was topical, but I wasn't sure. Would you have gotten that had I asked you that like 3 weeks ago, though?
I would have thought of Astral Chain was one of those big ones that I really wanted to play, but I just couldn't get my. No.
Oh.
I couldn't get my. That was one of the games during the buy two get one for GameStop. If they had Pokemon, Astral Chain, and like Octopath, I was thinking about doing that. But I couldn't get myself to pay the $50 because I was also interested in Code Vein. That was another one that came out that was supposed to be like it's like a Dark Souls except anime.
I vaguely remember it.
It's like Dark Souls but with anime. But I also couldn't get over the stupid girl on the cover that has like a goofy Russian furry hat thing. You know, the thing from like in Seinfeld, George Costanza, the rat hat.
You mean the hats that they actually do or did wear in Russia?
Yeah, it just looks goofy, and one of the characters is wearing it, and I couldn't get over the cover.
Batman wears a hat like that in Superman Red Sun because he's like a Russian Batman.
Oh, a Russian Batman.
Which is also now getting an animated feature. But moving on to the listener email, and this is actually our second email from this individual. Hi, guys.
Wait, is this related to us in any way? Not second friend or friend of boyfriend of?
A friend of my girlfriend who was turned on to the podcast, but not someone I have ever met in person.
All right.
Or talking to.
We'll
so
count it.
I'm going to count it as someone who's not a family or friend, just desperately trying to keep us afloat.
Okay, that sounds good.
Hi, guys. Matt
Hi.
Weldon again.
Hello, Matt.
I like that name.
Yes, Matt likes his own name.
Actually, it's a stupid name.
Okay, you just both insulted you and our.
It's so
We just
common.
lost all maps now.
Why don't you
Anyways,
just call me John Smith.
all of us have common names: Matt, Dan,
Andy.
True, but Matt is the most common dumb of the three.
I think that's true. Actually, I think,
think-
it's the most common.
I think Dan is
It's the
pretty
same
common.
thing that you.
No, I know way more Matts than
It's the
Dan's.
same thing that's in front of your house
but
to
Matt's
clean your
neat.
dirty feet on before you get into a home.
I almost bought one.
It's so dumb.
So Matt and I were at the Biggie one time, and I saw this welcome mat that said, "Hi, my name is Matt," but it was M-A-T, and I'm like, I gotta buy this, and he wouldn't let me.
Why? That's awesome.
Anyways, Matt Weldon again. I was listening to episode 34 and have some responses. First,
Uh-oh.
I
What
have
did we say?
what?
What did we do
This
wrong?
is last week's one. First, I have Astral Chain. It is a great game. I haven't beaten it yet, but I got as I got so busy playing other games, as well as was focused on releasing my sequel book to my book series, The Masters, at the time.
A golf book?
I doubt it. It sounds like a fantasy book, but we'll plug it.
Okay.
Let's plug the book, The Masters. Check it out by Matt Walden. Anyways, the gameplay is really fun with hack and slash action, puzzle solving, and doing detective missions. You get different abilities with the different legions, timed summon creatures, you unlock as you progress. The abilities you unlock are used to take down certain enemies and solve puzzles, which then makes a switch between legions. They can also be used in different attack combos. The detective work is very similar to the Batman Arkham series. Well, that interests me. The story so far is pretty good, and there's some mystery behind the plot of the overall narrative. It is a very anime game of a story, which fits in the art style used. And yeah, that is what I noticed. It looked like very anime-ish, like with the cel-shaded art style. And yeah, I do like anime, so
Oh, no
I don't
wonder
mind
why
that
it,
being-
it did well. It's made by Platinum Games, so the same people who did Bayonetta.
yeah.
So, well, that's one of the reasons why it probably is so
Well,
much fun.
That's
to
one
see-
of the reasons why I looked away from it. Actually, is because
Yeah,
the last few Platinum games I've played are like, a
a
very
lot of
hack and slashy, not a lot of meat to them.
well, the Platinum Games is always known to be like over the top, like hack and slash. You're taking
Yeah.
on like 13 enemies at one time.
I think they're teaming up with Square Enix for a game too. One of the ones that was on the PlayStation
I
State
get-
of Play.
I get them
Oh, the
mixed up.
PS5 one?
Hmm?
The PS.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
I get them mixed up. Oh yeah, and they also did Near Automata. I
I
apologize.
thought that was Square Enix.
Well, Platinum Games helped, I guess, work.
they
with them
worked
on
it.
that one.
I wonder
But
if Square
Bayonetta,
Enix owns
Astral
Platinum.
Chain, Metal Gear Rising, Vanquish was awesome. Scalebound,
Transformers Devastation.
freaking Scalebound. I forgot about that game. Damn it.
Oh, is that the one that got canceled?
Yeah, that was where it was like a hack and slash open world game where you could like train a like pretty much have a dragon as like your Pokemon pet type of thing, so he could like fly around. And then they just canceled it, and then somebody has supposedly picked it up, possibly, and some people thought that Nintendo Switch might have picked it up, or someone from Nintendo might have picked it up. I don't know.
There's a second part to his email.
Okay.
As for Kingdom Hearts, from what I was hearing, it sounds like your frustration with Kingdom Hearts were mostly coming from not having a full understanding of the story. I'm probably wrong, but I'm just going off of what it sounds like to me. Not trying to offend any of you or anything. If you want to reach out to me about any questions you have, I'm a huge fan of Kingdom Hearts and have loved talking about it. I've even incorporated some elements of Kingdom Hearts into my book series, amongst other series like Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy VII, and Dragon Ball Z. I can answer one question for right now. Squall. Oh, here's the whole Squall thing. Squall changes his name to Leon after trying to make amends for his mistake of not protect. Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
That
Leon comes from his last name, Leonhart. Is his last name Leon?
Oh,
I
Lionheart.
thought it was Lionheart.
Yeah, I thought it was Lionheart
Yeah.
too.
I've never seen lion spelled that way.
Yeah.
Was it
Leon.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe
No, I
a
think it was-
translation.
Looking forward to the next episode. Matt Weldon. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
That's Weldon, Weldon. Kingdom Hearts, it's not my frustration about not understanding the story. I just didn't like the games. Like it was for me, especially going back to the first one, it was anime for me in the wrong ways, like just the mannerisms that Sora had and stuff like that. And I could not take it seriously. I just couldn't. When Mickey is talking to me in that high pitched ha voice and trying to be very serious about like a story element, I couldn't take that seriously. That's not to say I thought it was a bad game. I just didn't like it because I think that considering how successful it was, you can't ignore that they did successfully combine Disney and Final Fantasy into like a very well-selling branded game that's garnered a lot of sequels, a lot of fans, and I know the fan base is very strong for Kingdom Hearts. I'm just not one of them.
Yeah, I mean, my problem is I feel like it has the same problem that kind of the new Star Wars have, where like they're just making these one at a time piecemeal, and when they get to the next one, they're like, oh, we'll figure it all out then. And like the same thing with Kingdom Hearts, like it doesn't feel like at the beginning they had this coherent plan for all these games, especially all the little side ones they have. So it just seems like every time they just have to like, all right, we've did all this crazy stuff, we have to take it up a notch and do all this crazy stuff, but there's no like through line. There's no like, oh, remember that point from the first one when this happened? It actually meant this, and then the third one. It's just kind of like all this crazy.
It's like throwing darts at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah,
I also
and it's just
could have gone for
strange.
some different name changes to titles, like Kingdom Hearts 358 / 1.5 days.
That didn't help
To
them
be
marketing.
honest, I think that was the only one that had a dumb title, though. Chain of Memories,
No,
that's a fine title.
Chain of Memories, but then there was like other ones, like Kingdom Hearts, like remix 2.8.
Well, that was just the remake of the.
I know, but why is it
games.
remix 2.8?
I don't know,
What
because
the
they
hell?
remade it like several times.
So 2.8? Like,
Actually, at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 3, one of the cutscenes actually says Kingdom Hearts 2.9 because it's a flashback. I thought actually that was kind of funny that they called it.
Yeah, there's like
Kingdom
a
Hearts
prologue
2.9.
before the.
But yeah,
started proper.
my girlfriend will go on to explaining the story about the games, and every time she talks, I don't understand what she's talking about, but it also sounds really stupid. Like it almost sounds like the way Final Fantasy 13 started up.
Yeah.
Where they were just throwing vocab at you and didn't really explain what any of it meant. And again, if I'd played the games, I probably would think differently. Matt, you played through all the games and you still think the story is garbage, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it starts off kind of strong. Like the first one was really good, and then it's just kind of, like I said, it just branches out. They keep adding new like antagonists. There's like, oh, okay, now there's a secret society of guys in black coats, and like, why are they here? And I mean, they do kind of go into it a little bit more, but they just add more and more stuff, and you're like, wait, why are these Disney guys? Wait, why is this happening? Wait, who's this new guy with the orange hair? And it's just gets cluttered to the point where you don't really even know who you're fighting against. Who's this ultimate evil?
Yeah.
It just kind of gets lost in all the noise.
It's kind of like the entirety of the Digimon series. Every time you beat the bad guy, oh, nope, there was someone pulling the strings behind that one.
I also feel like they were trying to bring like a Sephiroth type of enemy style, like with the whole black cape and everything, and it just didn't work, especially when these were like children. And
Well, the problem is they added a bunch of very important characters to the series, and like, oh, here's one that's you learn about him in this DS game, and it's like, okay, how many people played the DS game versus how many people played the mainline games? And like, oh, there's a PSP game that has this really important information that you need to get. So it's like all these little pieces that they're dropping off in these kind of side games that are like completely alter the course of the next game. Like these new characters just arrive, and you're just supposed to know who they are. They don't do a good job of bringing up someone that hasn't played the new ones, or even if you haven't played them in 5 or 8 years, like most people, they don't really kind of refresh your memory. They're like, you have to know who this guy is.
yeah, they do not make it easy to jump in. I don't know if Kingdom Hearts 3 did a good job of that.
Did not.
I will say Devil May Cry 5.
Kingdom Hearts 3 just got rid of a lot of the stuff. They're like, we're never gonna talk about any of the like Final Fantasy characters.
Because
It was dumb.
Devil May Cry 5 did, like, I was like, oh, I've never played. I only played the HD, the remake of the first one that a lot of apparently Devil May Cry people absolutely hate. But Devil May Cry 5, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be lost, and they do a great job of kind of, hey, this is what happened. Here's a quick synopsis. This is what's going on, and Dante isn't who he used to be. And then you see him like right at the beginning, like getting his ass kicked by that like guy in a chair that's just kind of like pointing and destroying him. Yeah, so like games like that, it's nice to come into it as like an outsider and kind of know what's going on. But I mean, games like Metal Gear Solid has that same problem where there was a PSP game that apparently was very important, and then they had it was a PSP, and then they had I'm pretty sure they had another. I know they had the card game, but that technically didn't. Oh yeah, Portable Ops,
especially
and then
when-
Peace Walker technically was a PSP, which yes, they later ported over to the
Makes it more confusing
PlayStation,
when
but
games like that, games like Final Fantasy 13 Trilogy, where they just start going back in time and like remessing up the timeline. It's just like, oh, it's confusing to begin with, and now you're just completely like
At least all
uplifting
three of those
everything.
games were on the same system.
True.
that is
So
true.
I'm thinking of, I was, while you guys were talking, I was listening to what you guys were talking, but I was also trying to think, like, what other game series is anywhere close to, like, the weird kind of, like, what Kingdom Hearts did with going in and out of all these different systems and games and all this stuff. And the closest thing I can come up to is something like the Marvel or DC comic lines, because you can't just jump into DC Comics. Like, there's like so many different comics and so many different timelines, so much happening, and they reboot it every like 6 years. There's no way to like, consistently know what's going on. And that's kind of what Kingdom Hearts sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Marvel is one of those things that it's just each one is kind of its own, especially with the video games, because some of them were like follow the movie, and some of them were.
I'm talking about specifically the comics, like the actual ongoing stories of the
Oh,
comics.
okay. I think you meant a video game that is like.
No.
Oh, okay.
The Kingdom Hearts video game series reminds me of the DC Comics comic line.
Okay,
like,
where
you can't
it's-
just
yeah.
jump in.
No.
It's all over the place.
It's nuts. I mean, even the new movies are tough. If you jump in the middle, you're not going to know. If you watch the
they
Avengers
can't
3 in a row, you're not
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
you're gonna be confused. Wait, what the hell is that
Yeah.
dude doing here? And how does that work? And who's the guy he goes back in time to talk to? Like, you're not gonna know who the hell that is. I mean, as someone that hasn't seen all of the movies, I saw most of them. I got the general gist of it. But I mean, Kingdom Hearts, Jesus. I mean, even in the
Yeah.
first one, I was lost. I was like, wait, am I supposed to
We
know this person?
have
How
now
did we get
hit,
into it? Yeah, how did we get into a 15-minute
yeah,
conversation about
we've
Kingdom
hit our
Hearts?
limit on Kingdom Hearts talk, because Matt
Yeah,
and I
let's
already
move
talked
on.
about Kingdom Hearts for a while
Well,
last
that
week,
was
too.
sorry. That was the
The first part of the question, though, about Astral Chain, like, that's definitely going to be, I'm going to re-up Gamefly at some point next year if I find the time, and Astral Chain's definitely going to be up there unless there's, like, a huge sale on it, because it does sound like a game I would like. I just was worried about paying the full price for it. It didn't seem like a game that I wanted to risk the full price on. Thanks, Red Dead 2. You ruined full-price games for me.
No, but interesting way to possibly get it cheap. I just saw an article that says Redbox is liquidating all of its games, and you can snag them for a super cheap
Yeah,
price.
they're not doing video games anymore.
So, I mean, I thought
How
the
do
video
you
game
snag
thing.
'em?
So, well, you can snag them by you actually go to the
I didn't see any
Redbox.
great prices when I checked last week. But,
Star Wars Fallen
Would you
Jedi,
check them at the
$25.
CVS?
yeah, you can check it online and see like what's near me.
Borderlands 3, $20.
actually
Star
pretty
Wars
good.
Fallen Jedi, 25.
Oh wow, that's really
Death
good.
Stranding, 25. Modern
Oh.
Warfare, $29.99.
That might be a good way
Now
for me to get
it
Death
only
Stranding.
just comes with the disc, but if you don't care at that point,
I
you
have some
just
blank cases. I mean, Death Stranding, I was either gonna like rent or just borrow from you if you're done with it at one point. Not soon.
I haven't. Well, there's some extra things at the end
it's
of the
not gonna
game.
be anytime soon.
But I'm gonna let you keep control because I want you to beat that.
Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying that game.
By the way, look for a refrigerator in that game.
Okay. The last big topic for today is talking about the Game Awards that happened last week.
Yeah, it just happened like kind of right after the day
Was
after
that Thursday, I believe?
recorded.
Yeah, I didn't really. Once I found out that there really wasn't anything huge dropping, I didn't really bother to go through and watch it. But
Well, there happened to be some pretty big announcements.
I thought I was kind of overall disappointed, but I'm not sure what I was expecting.
Before we go into discussion, I just want to, for the listeners, list out every single winner for the categories. So I'm just gonna blow through right these. So I'll start from the bottom. Best VR/AR game was Beat Saber. Best strategy game was Fire Emblem. Best score and music was Death Stranding. Role-playing game and narrative. Was that role-playing game and narrative? I might have screwed something up. Disco Elysium, which
I've heard
that
great things. That's
was
the other one I would have
first game
said.
I heard.
Yeah.
First time I heard about it. I don't know if that was both narrative and role-playing game.
I think so. They might have won both categories because they did win a lot.
The way I typed it out was weird.
Okay.
Performance. Originally, I thought it was game like actual performance of
Oh,
the
Mads
game.
Mikkelsen, right?
But yeah, this was like for actual like
He was
acting.
great.
Mads Mikkelsen. Ongoing game, Fortnite.
Yep.
Oh, here it is. Narrative, Disco Elysium. Disco Elysium. Multiplayer, Apex. Mobile game, Call of Duty. Games for Impact, Gris. Fresh indie game, Disco Elysium. Fighting game, Smash Brothers. Family game, Luigi's Mansion 3. Esports team, G2 Esports. Esports player, Booga. I don't know how to pronounce. Esports host, Jox. Esports event, League of Legends World Championship in 2019. Esports coach, Zonic. Content creator of the year, Shroud. Community support, Destiny 2. Audio design, Call of Duty. Art direction, Control. Best game direction, Death Stranding. Action adventure, Link's Awakening. Action game, Devil May Cry 5. And game of the year was, surprisingly to me, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. And I gotta be honest, when I heard about that, I'm like, oh, it sounds like people actually like, because they just didn't give it to like the flavor of the month.
I
game
think
at the time.
they were supposed to give it to Death Stranding, and then
God.
I have a funny.
No.
Well, there was a lot of outcry because, and I mean, it does make sense. Jeff Keighley is the head of it, and he's good buddies with Hideo Kojima.
Hideo Kojima is also an advisor on the panel.
And Jeff Keighley is in the game. I mean, it was very.
Oh, so people were already crying before it happened because Matt,
Well,
and I mentioned that last week, and I'm like, oh, I'm sure that there's like an advisory panel. I don't think that's a big deal.
I
don't
think.
really think
I
it's,
think
it's
what
a
happened
vote from like
well,
different judges
what
from
I-
different publications.
Yeah,
I
but
really don't think it was
What I thought
affected by
was
that.
weird too was that it won Best Audio Design. I don't know about you, but Death Stranding was all like, "Here's a song." Like, here's a song. Like, I
Yeah, but
didn't
they
really...
did it kind of in a cool way. We
They
like,
did it in
go
a cool
over
way, but
around
it's-
the
but
page
Here's
and
the
it's-
thing: they didn't win audio design. Call of Duty did. They won
Not sorry.
best game direction.
Oh, I thought they won some sort of audio thing with like a narrative, not narrative, audio. Like,
Score and music.
yeah, like they shouldn't have won that one because that was just, hey, here's a bunch of songs we literally just took from a band and put it in.
So
And they were good songs and they worked.
are
But
you
Yeah, I
saying
definitely
it should have
created
been
it-
game of the year?
not saying like Sekiro was awesome, and they all, every single one of them in that game or in that category could have won.
Because I feel like
Game of the year.
Sekiro was a game that everybody said was either really good or there was
It
a
was-
small majority of people that just said like it's too hard. And then I feel like for people,
I mean,
not
it has-
critics, Death Stranding was like extremely split down the middle from people who either hated it or loved it.
Yeah, but for the most part, Death Stranding got good reviews. It was just the
Critical.
critical reviews. Yeah, users. Well, actually, there was for Metacritic, they removed a bunch of fake reviews from it, so it raised it up a lot. But it's still
Critic?
user.
Oh.
There was a lot of fake zeros and stuff like that. But I understand the game is not for everyone, and I get that. But Sekiro was good. I just think the story is kind of lackluster, and the gameplay is really fun, and that's kind of what that company is known for. You know, with the Soulsborne.
Did you ever beat it?
No, I got I'm very, very close to the end. But that's one of those games that you get very lost in it because it's very like you can branch these two ways, and then this one goes to a whole nother section, and like shit, like I gotta.
Sounds like all of their games.
Yeah, but this one is because you have that like rope that you can like grab things. It really expands things, not only like straight ahead because it was in Dark Souls. It was you walk straight. The only thing you can do is roll forward. There's not that you can't go up by jumping or something. This one you can look all around, and if you find a tree branch, it can bring you all the way around the edge to a whole new level. And there was some levels that I completely missed. A whole level I missed just because if you look down over a cliff, there's a tree branch. So if you fall and grab it, it'll hook you into a whole like level. And I was like, holy crap, I missed this like whole fight. But like I said, it's definitely worthy of the potential game of the year. I think they kind of were like, oh shoot, let's pick something that shouldn't really, or that no one would think is game of the year. Because I thought it was going to be a fight. Personally, I think it should have gone to like Outer Worlds. Because Outer Worlds walked away with I don't think anything.
Yeah, I don't.
And I
Were
think
they even nominated for Game of the Year?
yes, I think it was Resident Evil 2, which as much as Resident Evil 2 was fantastic, it is a remake. So of a game that's already been made. So you gotta
Right. Oh, Resident Evil 2. Yeah.
So you gotta dock it a little bit. But Outer Worlds, I mean, from what everyone has said about the game, the art direction, and now that I've actually played it for a little bit, yeah, obviously I can tell that game took a lot of work, like a lot of dialogue and care, and but any of them could be. I mean, Death Stranding, like I said,
I mean, it's going to come down to like there's a lot of people voting.
Yeah,
so
I just didn't. Because because Sekiro won, I feel like they all were like, hey, let's throw everyone for a loop and pick this game. Because I mean, the percentages of that game winning, like looking at it, they probably had, I don't know, maybe hypothetically.
See, I was thinking the opposite. I was thinking because the Flavor of the Month game didn't win, it meant that they actually took their time and voted for, like, it's an advisory panel. There's a lot of people voting. Each person's taking their time to think, like, because I was really surprised to see Control on the nomination list. That was
Control got a lot of
nominations. The nominations were Sekiro, Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Yeah, that was kind of silly.
The Outer Worlds. Matt, what are your thoughts on the actual Game of the Year selection?
I'm fine with it. Like, a Sekiro is one of those games where I recognize it's a good game, but it's super not for me. I just can't I just can't stand those super hard, frustrating games where you're dying all the time and just getting pissed off. Like, I don't have the patience for it.
Yeah.
You know that Star Wars is built the same way as that game. So
It
if you
is.
like Star Wars.
I did get
it literally
I
is,
got frustrated sometimes at Star Wars, but Star Wars was not as hard as Sekiro. I played Sekiro for a small
See, the
amount
thing
of
with
time.
Sekiro is if you're good at parrying, like timing, that game is easy. I suck at parrying, like perfect timing thing, so I'm terrible at it. But the Dark Souls ones,
Matt hasn't liked any of those games, though. Like,
Yeah.
he hasn't
but,
liked that.
but literally now with Star Wars, it literally is copy paste of Dark Souls games. So anybody that has been like, I don't know if I like Dark Souls, this game is, I mean, yes, granted, I am playing on the hardest difficulty, but even lowering it 2 ticks, it's still just a little bit.
Wait, you're playing Sekiro on the hardest difficulty?
No, Sekiro is just a difficulty.
Star
That's
Wars,
it.
yeah.
But Star Wars, you can play it on different ones. But
Yeah.
it is literally all of the mechanics of a Dark Souls game. It is.
But you die in like very quickly in the Dark Souls games, whereas in
this game,
Star
you die
Wars,
really quick. Holy crap!
You
Well,
can,
again,
but-
I'm getting killed in one hit by.
Well, you're also
certain
on the
things.
hardest
Yeah, I mean, I'm
difficulty.
not
I
getting
understand
killed in one
difference.
hit. I'm able to roll away and like go
If-
and fight
but
again.
But Dark Souls, like,
If Sekiro had an easier difficulty, Matt may have enjoyed it more.
see, I still think you would, because it's not all about health, and a lot of it you can heal yourself, just like
Well, he did play it.
you did play Sekiro. I didn't realize you actually
Yes,
played it.
I played it briefly.
Okay.
Just like tried it out
Like,
for
he
a couple hours.
played it and did not like it.
Okay, see, I didn't know you actually played it. Okay, but for other fans that enjoy the Star Wars and you like that style of kind of Metroidvania where you got to go back and unlock things because you got a key from this, and if you just like a different skin over that Star Wars game, that's what the Souls games are. That's what Bloodborne is. That's what Dark Souls is. They're all the same style of game, of hack and slash. Just
But
a
also,
different.
I didn't play Star Wars on hard, so like I wouldn't like to play those games because I bet those games are kind of maybe the equivalent to the Star Wars hard.
Well, see, they are, but what happens is if you grind a little bit at the beginning of any Souls game, just a little bit extra, so go and kill like the first enemy, a few times and level up, the game becomes easier in that section. It's just when you try and say, oh, screw it, I'm gonna run past this and I'm gonna go to the next level because I want to grab some stuff, which I try to do that in Star Wars to get the dual lightsaber. I went to this planet that you're not supposed to go early, and I'm getting killed in one hit by everything. But I got the damn dual lightsaber, and now I've gone back, and now everything is a lot easier.
I mean, I feel like Sekiro and those games in general still have a general harder difficulty than most other games, though. I mean,
they do, but you still have to.
Matt's playing Star Wars because it's a Star Wars game, and he wanted to play through the story of the Star Wars game. You're not getting that from Sekiro either.
Yeah, I wanted
you
like
know?
a fun Uncharted game, which is basically what it is too.
That is true. There's no Uncharted in the Dark Souls games.
But yeah, I just realized I've only played. If you count the original Resident Evil 2, I've played 1, 2, 3,
Which I do not.
4 of the 6
It's
of
a very
these.
different game.
It's
Four of
it's
the
the
6
same game, right?
Wait, what was the list again?
No.
What was the list again?
How different is it?
It's just plays very differently.
What, Resident Evil 2?
But it's like it's a remake though. It's not like
Oh,
a completely
It's
different.
not like
it's
a,
very different.
there's different rooms. There's different the enemies are different.
I know what you're thinking, but it really is a completely.
It's not like a
different game.
remaster.
It's like enemies are not like just aim and shoot. This is
I'm gonna half count it.
what you played it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so the games were Sekiro Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and The Outer Worlds. And Super
Wait a
Smash
minute,
Brothers.
Oh, I thought that was. Oh, Disco. Was Disco on there?
No,
No.
not for a game of the year.
Wow. So I actually played all of them.
Yeah, I don't really like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is great.
It's
Really fun. It's got all of the characters from all the Smash Brothers in it. It does have a pretty neat kind of, I want to say quest mode, but I don't know what it was doing in the game of the year category.
No, that could have gone to like an indie title or
I
something.
mean, I know. It's not to say that it's not a great game and not a lot of hard work put into it. I don't know. Maybe I'm being biased because it just doesn't have a story and it's just like a fun. Like it is a really
It's a
fun
fighter
game.
It's a fighter, but I do feel like racers and fighters typically don't.
I'm
to
surprised
win it?
something like Astral Chain wasn't on there, considering how much respect it's garnered from both critics and users. Devil May Cry 5.
Devil May Cry 5 was not on the game.
If you're going to put Resident Evil 2 in that Game of the Year list, which strictly speaking, if the game was already made, I don't really think it should be counted even in
they
the
should do
contention.
remaster like Link's Awakening.
Yeah,
that could have been.
Why
in its own
wasn't Link's
category.
Awakening in that list?
Yeah,
You know, like I
That's
loved
why I-
Link's Awakening much more than Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It was just Smash Brothers.
yeah. Well, anything that doesn't require a lot of like thought to like a story or that I don't like. Fortnite shouldn't be Game of the Year or Apex shouldn't be Game of the Year.
I was
Why not?
I was
because it's just the combat. It's nothing to it. There's no.
See, no, I
direction.
agree with Matt on this because I was saying that
Just
maybe
different genres.
maybe it's just because I'm biased because there's no story, but that's just like a bias thing because I like my games to have a story or all of my best games have a story, but that doesn't make it any lesser of a game. That's not the reason why I don't think it should be in there. I just don't think it
I
was
think
like
it takes less work to create a game where you don't have to worry about story elements, and that way, literally, you're just. I would say, from a drawing board perspective, like from a team developing. Like Death Stranding probably took a lot more work and storyboarding and hey, we got to design it this way.
I mean-
than Apex. Apex, they like, oh, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna have a level like this, and we're gonna design it like this, and here's the combat.
I mean, there's a lot of indie games that took less work than some of the mainstay games, and I think that they're better than some of the AAA.
No, that's
Games.
definitely true. I mean, Celeste, I think it was
Goose
up
Game doesn't really have a story.
No, but
Just
I mean, also
being a goose.
you're thinking about also like the amount of work that went into it. That's why it is tough for an indie game unless it's gone above and beyond. Like Dead Cells was one of those games I think that was up there for a lot of awards, and it was even though it was 8-bit or not 8-bit but retro style.
Yeah.
it still had a lot to it.
I don't mind Smash Brothers, or I don't. All right, hang on. I don't mind multiplayer only games like anything, whether it's Apex or Fortnite or Smash Brothers. I don't mind those being considered. I just didn't think, as much fun as I have with Super Smash Brothers, I just don't think it should have been in there.
No, it's like a sports game. It's a
We'll have this.
fighter.
We'll have this discussion further next week. We're going to talk about our own game of the year. We can go.
That's
through
true.
all
That
these.
is true.
Was there any other takeaways from the actual awards for games?
The Xbox Series X.
From the actual awards of the games.
Oh, the actual. Sorry, I meant from the.
Not
award
really,
show.
except that that's maybe a separate topic about how useless the awards are at this award
half
show.
of them were pretty useless.
A lot of the times Jeff Keighley would just come up and say, okay, these are the nominations and this is the winner really quickly. Like there weren't a lot of I'm going to go up and the winner's going to go up and accept their award and give a speech. And for me, I'm watching it. I don't really care about who they think is the best game of the year. I'm watching it mostly for reveals and trailers and things like that, which kind of I don't know, puts a bad taste in my mouth that it's not really the awards that are do you guys watch these for the awards? Is that in any way entertaining to you?
Some of them I want to see. I do like the fact that Sekiro is probably going to sell a little bit more now that it won Game of the Year, so they can stick that on the cover.
It just seems like they're leaning into the okay, these are the big announcements, which is at this point, why even have an award show? Just make a end of the year
I like
video game show.
I do like the mix
with some awards. On
I
the
think
side.
my thing is I just think there's a probably 50% of the categories I wasn't interested in, but another 50%
True,
that
yeah, a lot of them
I
are-
do want to. I would like to actually like kind of like I used to like watch the Oscars, but then they were just kind of dragging it on way too much. Like this seemed a little more. And I get what you're saying. Like I was also hoping for some big announcements. What I did take away from the actual awards, though, was, hey, here's 2 or 3 games that I didn't know about or hadn't tried yet, and I want to go try them now, like Disco Elysium. And also, there was a category called Games for Impact. I'm not really sure what that means.
Probably impact of like the industry, maybe like it.
I don't know that the games that were nominated were all. I think it might have been like the impact of like the story on you or something like that. Because the winner was Gris, and the
That's the
other
one for Stadia.
the other. Well, Gris is a Stadia only game.
Mhm.
Oh, Stadia's only been out for like a day. Also, it's not doing very well.
Good.
The other games on the list were Concrete Genie, Kind Words, Life is Strange 2, and Sea of Solitude. Those all seem like very. I know Life is Strange is a very story-driven narrative game, so I didn't know if like that's what it meant. But like, yeah, there's a few games that I can see here where I'm like, oh, I want to, check those out. Like, I've been like dipping in and out of the Fire Emblem series over the years, and I wasn't sure about this new one with the 3 houses. It seemed like kind of like a little too Harry Potterish for me, but it's garnered a lot of good reviews, and it won Best Strategy Game. It didn't look like it had a ton of competition. Matt, did you play Beat Saber?
I did not. It's like a fun VR
It's
game
like the
that people seem
Guitar
to
Hero
love.
with a beat.
Yeah, it's like $30.
You like take the sticks and you hit the things.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been kind of waiting for it to go on sale, but I think it's literally not gone on sale since it came out.
Is it for PSVR?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was only for Oculus or something, or the Vive or Vive.
Another thing is
the
the PlayStation version. It's the one knock against it is that it doesn't have a lot of songs, and you can't really you can buy there's that new Green Day pack that they announced at this show, and then there's like an Imagine Dragons pack. Like they don't have a lot of songs that really appeal to me. And on the PC, I guess you can kind of add a ton of songs, and there's a lot of user generated stuff. So just having this a kind of less than version also kind of turned me off to it. But I was kind of hoping it would be on sale at some point, but it seems like it's just going to never be on sale because it's so popular.
You reminded me, Andy, that I want to play the what's that one where you move and. Sorry, we talked about it earlier.
A lot of games.
No, you. Sorry,
The perspective game.
No, you move and time moves.
Oh, Super Hot.
Super Hot. Yes, that's the VR game. That
It's
I do.
on Game Pass, and you have Game Pass, so.
Well, not on
PSVR.
VR.
I want to play for VR.
Well, fine. I'm playing it on Game Pass because I don't have.
See,
a
I think you should
PlayStation
wait
VR.
and see if you can get it for PlayStation VR.
I don't have PlayStation VR.
He does.
What do you guys think about that Xbox name?
One more thing
All right.
from the actual awards thing. This is a really short thing. There was a section called Family Games, and I don't know if certain titles.
Luigi
weren't-
should not have won that.
Well, that's fine with that. I'm just wondering, what's considered a family game? Like
Well,
a game
probably
where
E
you
for
all
everyone.
play together, or
Just E for everyone. I'm fine. I
Super
didn't-
Mario Maker should have, I think, beat any of those in the category just because it's very hey, I built this, you try it. And
Well, I mean,
Luigi's Mansion is just you playing.
I think the idea is kind of just like a game that kids can enjoy, like a 8-year-old can enjoy, but also we could enjoy at our
Yeah.
age in our 30s, and Luigi's Mansion kind of fits that fold.
I mean, I didn't like Super Mario Maker 2.
I'm talking about it as a family game. When I pictured the best family game, I didn't picture Luigi's Mansion. I pictured
Like Matt said, I don't think it means a game where there
you're
was
thinking
there was
anybody from any age.
Yes,
Oh,
where there was a different section for actually multiplayer game.
oh well, that was obviously going to go to Call of Duty or
It was
Fortnite.
Apex.
See, now, yes, I can understand how that's
The
its
actual
own-
gameplay of Apex
is great.
was very tight.
It is.
now, Matt, we can talk about the
Hooray!
biggest announcement or biggest dud of an announcement.
I was so confused when that thing was
Xbox
announced.
One
I
Series
was like, "Are you
X.
kidding me? I already got an Xbox One X. I don't want the next
Series
thing."
X.
And then for the longest time, I was like, "Did they just announce the
Do
next?"
you want me to actually tell them what it's called first?
Go ahead, Andy.
It's the Xbox One Series X,
Okay.
which we don't really know what that means.
no,
I mean, they're just basically calling it Xbox again.
yeah. So
but there's
I
a-
understand, and I've seen a lot of people yelling at each other online, which is kind of funny. That's why I was so confused initially. I was like, "Is this a signature series Xbox One X? Is this just a more powerful one? What is this?" I mean,
It looks hideous.
it literally
Yeah,
looks
it's like a giant tower.
it
which,
looks like a speaker. Like
I mean, it just looks like a PC tower, which
And
I
they
don't know if
said-
that's going to fit on people's entertainment system. It won't fit on mine well.
no, it's gonna look weird. It's gonna look like your game entertainment center has an antenna, a really fat antenna. And apparently you can lay it down, but I mean, if you lay it down, it just looks like
Still
a bone
really
system.
thick, yeah.
And if they did, all they needed to do was, I feel like if they made the front like almost like have an LCD screen just to like show you like, oh, it's Xbox, and it pops up with different like pictures and maybe screenshots that you could use. So it's basically like projecting like a screenshot or anything that you want in the front. It's literally just a black box. Like,
I
and
just thought about how
I mean, the
much more
PS4
power that would take.
Yeah, I mean, the PS4 is just a black box.
well, yeah, but it's kind of angled, and it's got like two,
There's
angled-
nothing about the thing we saw that looks sleek. And it is also proportionately bad for
I mean, it
entertainment
looks-
centers.
Well, it looks sleek. It just looks not like a game.
Oh, I don't think it looks sleek at all. I thought it just looked like
I thought
someone just
when
took a brick and painted it black.
When it turns on and it has like the green like light from the Xbox, it actually looks kind of neat. But
Eh.
it just it's bland. It is pretty bland. But everyone I feel like is trying to go for that type of look, where the bows, like the speakers, are just trying to look rather simple. And I don't mind the simple idea, but it's odd. I mean, someone did a comparison of like the sizes, like and what this looks like compared to everything else. I'll have to find the picture for you, but it is bulky. It is bulky. It is.
Yeah, it's just named weird.
weird.
Like I can imagine like parents trying to buy this for their kids next winter holiday season and being like, I want an Xbox, and it's like, what does that mean? There's an Xbox. There's an Xbox One. There's an Xbox, which is Series X. Presumably there might be two of these at launch because the Series X kind of implies that there's going to be multiple systems for this generation for this Xbox.
I think
Was
they
it
literally
called Xbox One Series
No,
X or
Xbox
Xbox
Series X.
See,
So I
I
think
can't even keep it straight.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I really think that they were like when they named the 360, they were like, "Oh yeah, here's a really cool name," and I think that fucked them over because PlayStation was like, "All right, PlayStation 3, PlayStation
yeah, I mean
4."
they couldn't call it the Xbox 2 because then they'd be one behind the 3. It's
Yeah,
just
so
kind of
the naming
stupid.
convention, even though 360 was awesome and it clicked, like then they were like, "What are you gonna do with 720? Then you're gonna triple the numbers or double the numbers?"
Yeah, this is like Wii U
I
territory.
mean,
dumb.
technically, N64, did that where they did it with a number and it worked. It was like, oh, it's 64-bit.
Yeah, so like Matt just said, like aside from the Wii thing, Nintendo's always had like a decent naming convention. Like everybody knows. Like you said 360, everybody knew what you were talking about. If I say, oh, my Xbox
Series X.
or my Xbox One, they're like, oh, you mean like the one that came out years ago? I'm like, no, it's the new one.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, this just looks frustrating. They didn't really release a lot else.
Still don't know
They just had
anything.
they just had like kind of a general trailer that looked really nice of just like kind of games in general, and then they had a trailer for.
And it looks like the Xbox One controller is with it.
Yeah, I heard that they're the only new thing about the Xbox One controller that they're going to make for the Series X. God, that sounds weird. Is just they're going to change like one of the option buttons to like a share button. So it's literally going to be just like PlayStation where it's options, share. That's it.
Okay.
Instead of like the two squares.
Yeah, Matt, like you were saying, I'm pretty sure there is supposed to be like multiple versions, but like we discussed a couple weeks ago, there's been multiple versions of just about every console that's ever come out. There's always been kind of like a economy version, and then like here's your super duper version. I don't know how much
Yeah.
different these ones are going to be.
Let's have to find out. I mean, they had the trailer for Hellblade 2, which, I mean,
That was scary.
it looked pretty, but it also didn't show any gameplay. It just kind of like it was just this
It's a
kind of
pre-rendered trailer.
pre-rendered, or was it in game? I thought it was supposed to be in game.
That was in game.
Yeah, but so it looked beautiful, but it also didn't really tell us anything about the game, which is fine. I mean, I guess
Did you play Hellblade?
I did not.
Ooh, I should let you borrow that.
So they're gonna be. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna hold back a lot of that for E3, but I don't know. I just feel like it was kind of like a splash without anything worth showing, really.
So Dan's right now showing me like comparisons of what it looks like compared to other systems. It's not the length or the depth, it's the height.
Yeah,
all right, so and I'm talking about when you're laying it down.
It is
so it's
just
so much, it's like
bulky as
twice
heck.
as tall as the PS4 laying down.
It's not gonna fit in a lot of people's entertainment systems, including mine, which is just kind of obnoxious.
Yeah.
It's just like one small. It's not a make or break thing, but it's one small like kind of knock against it so far for me.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll have to see. I mean, we still know so little about it that it's hard to judge.
Especially after they just came out with the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S, which are very like nice.
They're sleek. Those are sleek looking, and they're nice looking. They're quiet as hell too. But just if you go to oh god, what's the website? Well, if you go on Google and type in Xbox Series X, like size comparison, you'll see a bird's eye view of all like the modern consoles and how it compares, and then a like front view of it, and you'll notice on the front view it's just obnoxiously huge. I something about Xbox where they don't care about the initial system being so big and so bulky. I mean, everyone made fun of the Xbox One that looked like a VCR or like a cable box.
Well, it's not to mention, like again, like Matt was saying, we still don't know anything. They haven't given us any information about this. Like PlayStation hasn't shown us the official design or anything, but like they've still like given us like random specs here and there, and I don't know, it's just very strange.
Yeah, I guess I kind of want more information. It just seems like a strange way to bring this out. It just seems like a weird design. I guess we'll have to wait and see, learn more. I mean, it looks like both these systems are going to be super powerful, which I'm excited about. Like they're going to be a much bigger jump than say the PS3 to the PS4 generation, the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One. That's what it seems like people are saying. That's what seems like these are going to be powerhouses, which kind of, adds to the discussion about can they even get these at a price that's reasonable. My guess would probably be 500 at this point, which is that even too high for some people? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But
I did like the fact that they said day one backwards compatible through the entire Xbox library for discs. So I thought that was really cool. And if they enhance those older games, like you can play them in like 60 frames per second, that's a huge I am going to get the system at some point. Just initially, I think I'm going to stick with PlayStation.
Oh yeah, I'm day one PS5. I don't, especially because PS5 we've been told is going to be backwards compatible with at the very least PS4 discs.
Yes,
I mean we've already had a lot of backwards compatibility snafus with PlayStation over the years, to which everybody who needs to play a PlayStation game that they own already has a way to do it. So I don't really care about anything prior to PS4. I just care about, can I get rid of my PS4 when I get this PS5? That's what I care about, because I need the room.
Well, I can't now because I have my friggin' Death Stranding version of it.
Was there anything else that was announced that you guys were interested in?
I was hoping that Metroid was gonna get announced, because they put out pre-orders for Metroid Prime 4.
When Reggie came out, I was like, oh, maybe he'll kind of be like, hey, Nintendo.
Not even the collection, just nothing. No. So what were you gonna say, Dan?
There was a game that's called Godfall.
That's the PS5 one, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be.
That looked interesting, but still so little information.
Yeah, they said it's like a Borderlands like hack and slash looter, like hack and slash, and I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. And that one looked interesting. And then I mean, I was already sold on it, but Ghost of Tsushima, I was excited to see some more gameplay of that and kind of a little bit more.
So you must have enjoyed the stuff you saw in the state of play for it too.
Yes. That was even a teaser. Yeah. This was...
But what I meant was it got you like excited for it.
Yeah, and it also finally showed how big the world is. There was some gameplay that showed like you attacking like a village of like the enemy, but that was only like one area. This showed like you crossing... It felt very much like Breath of the Wild, where you're crossing like this huge open plain, going to somewhere on a horse. And it's like, all right, this is pretty cool. I saw a bow and arrow, swords... So it looks like you're going to have a lot of like things that you can, a lot of different weapons rather than just like a sword. So that was the one problem with Sekiro, is the sword play kind of gets a little monotonous because you're always just walking up, hack.
I still have to play that game. I at least want to try it out, Sekiro? Even if I've been kind of hot and cold with the Dark Souls series throughout the years. So I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. But I've from the people who have told me it's good are the same people who really like the Dark Souls series, so it's kind of hard to... Yeah, you and my friend James, those are the two people.
It's good.
I know that really love the Souls series, but yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to bring to the table today?
No, excited for our Game of the Year.
Yes. So this Saturday, we are going to be recording a lot of audio on our own Game of the Year discussion. We'll be releasing that in 2 parts next week instead of doing a Wednesday show, so you won't be hearing from us about the general game news and our thoughts about what we're playing until 2 weeks from now.
Cool beans.
Sounds good.
I just realized, again, because we're not consistent on anything we do on this show, I did not at the beginning of the episode say what the episode number was.
Oh, it's
Or
like
what the date
it's
was.
a bunch of numbers.
It's episode 35,
December 18th.
December
2019.
18th, 2019.
Week away from Xmas.
Could always just record it afterwards and plug it in.
You do you?
It's probably what I'll do. So if that's
Now this makes
so,
no sense.
Yeah, you're either listening to this and being like, "Oh yeah, they didn't do it," or you're listening to this and it's like, "Wait, I remember them saying that. I don't understand what's going on."
Well, considering we talked today all about like time travel, I think maybe it's appropriate that we can put it at the end and then clip it.
If anybody listening to this has not seen Back to the Future, it's my favorite movie and also one of the best movies ever made. Please go watch it. It's much better than Final Fantasy 13.
I would concur with that.
And with this, oh no, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at MadTalksGames. Sometimes, occasionally, rarely.
Seriously, I have no consistency with this hosting thing anymore. I'm kind of just
Just winging it.
throwing darts at a board.
Explain it. You can find me, Dan, on Twitter at Game Review Guy.
He's a lot better at Twitter. Contact him.
Yeah, you can find me at Highly and Andy on Twitter, but I'm also not very good at tweeting. Like, I do enough for the podcast where I don't have to tweet out too. Dan handles all the social media stuff. He's really good with that. He's always on, got his phone glued to his face.
Tweet
so.
at me.
You
Tweet at
can also
me.
find the podcast at Metabar Podcast on Twitter or the Metabar Podcast on Instagram. You can also email us anytime at metabarpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again to Matt for emailing in. We really appreciate that. And with that, this is the Trophy Hunter or the Completionist. Dan, what's your name again?
The Collector.
Is this the second time I've forgotten that?
No,
you
usually
okay,
you forgot him.
Andy?
Yeah, you all right?
You're falling apart here.
I'm a little tired today.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we do this too.
See, your title was in question because you were like the bargain bin gamer. You're like,
Yeah, I was.
He
thinking
just
about-
went back and
just
played Final
fall.
Fantasy 13.
I know. I was thinking about switching to the procrastinator at one point.
That's a good one.
And with that, this is the